So we're on YouTube right now.
Just about.
There we go.
Do you want to see this? This is the dump truck schedule.
Perfect timing. It's 1 o'clock in there.
What's that?
Here, I'll let you have this, but if you could give it back, just like you keep it in the file after the dump truck.
Okay, can we call the meeting to order at 1 o'clock? Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can remember at grade school, we used to have to take turns who was going to lead the Pledge of Allegiance each day.
Yep.
Yeah. So next thing on the is a motion to approve the agenda for today.
I'll make a motion for that.
Tammy, the mic, any discussion, additions to the agenda? All those in favor? Public participation. I'm looking at the Zoom account and there's nobody there. There's nobody, for the record, there's nobody here for public participation. So we'll move on to the next thing. New business. Tammy would like to talk briefly about a meeting she had yesterday with Sue Dwyer and Mike O'Neill, who is the county records manager.
Yeah, so they came in, they're going to apply for a grant. This is not anything that's gonna happen this year. It will take a very long time to really get it all implemented and going. So they wanna do digital records. Tompkins County has done it. And they started with the county and then they went to the towns and they went to the police, they went to the courts and they did schools, all of it. It's worked out beautiful. They went over, they watched it. The thing is, to get this grant, they really need municipalities on board as well because it's a shared service grant. So they came through, explained how it would be. It's still very preliminary. There's like no numbers money-wise I asked, this is the budget day, is there anything this year? But of course, there's still, they have to apply and they needed towns to go in. So that's where we're at. We made no commitment. We just said, yes, it sounds wonderful because we are running out of room here. We're running out of room in every office. The way they explained it, and I could go and see it if I really wanted to down in Tompkins County, just type it in, it comes up. It sounds really like a wonderful plan. A lot of work. It takes a long time to get to do the process as well, going through the records and scanning. But anyway, it sounds like, you know, a way to go. They feel that it's definitely in the future going to be mandatory. So why not jump on now while grant money is there before every town's jumping on at the same time, or every county for the money.
So it was more informational than anything
Yeah.
else. So we're going to, so if you heard something about at the county office building, you know, does anybody have an objection to us committing to this?
I think it's the
commit.
way of the, it's the
Yeah, I
way of the
think-
future.
I think we need to.
This is where things are going. We should
Yeah.
definitely be involved if, you know, as this goes on, there would be no reason to keep on, you know, getting information and figure out what we got to do.
If
Yeah.
we don't do it, we're gonna have to build a more storage area for
Right.
it and have it secured. So it's maybe a way
I was
to,
pleased that Sue and Mike introduced or, you know, welcomed Tammy into that meeting. That was nice.
Yeah, I think that I was the first one,
That's good.
so.
okay, anything else, Tammy, new business? Any old business from anybody?
We just go back to communications. I got a call a couple of days ago. I guess there's a tree down around Melrose somewhere. Melrose Parkway. And the person said, I want to congratulate your people. The tree wasn't hardly down. They were there clearing it up, picking it up. So
Cool.
should always repeat the compliment.
We don't get too many of those. Okay, going to the next resolution, 140, is to approve NAP Electric and Bon Giovanni, the contractors for the microsystems project. They didn't get their pay voucher in on time last week for our normal business. They knew about it, and we're actually having a tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, if anybody wants to join. We're having our third working meeting to discuss the progress up at the highway garage water plant on the permanent building there. So, but in order to, because it wasn't these people's fault, it was more of our engineers not getting the paperwork to Darcel or Lori in a timely fashion. We felt that it would be hurting them who are doing the work because the engineer screwed up.
I'll
So
make a motion for
that's why
discussion.
we're doing this.
Second.
Okay, Timmy, then Fred, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The next resolution is to authorize payment for the city of Auburn for sewer rents in the amount of 36,000. An invoice that arrived at town board meeting on October 8th.
I'll make
Again,
a
same
motion.
situation.
Make a motion for that.
Second.
Okay. So we got those two, and then all those in favor?
Aye.
And then the last one is authorization for payment to get reimbursed for our CHIPS money, which is, we have about $82,000 worth of money here. What has to happen before we have to have all the money, the vouchers, the canceled checks, the work orders, everything to the state by November 6th. So if we waited to the next board meeting, it wouldn't give us enough time to get the reimbursements in. And so hopefully if the state's going to release the money, then we would get it before the end of the year, which is budgeted in our budget for CHIPS money. And they're actually completing the work right now as we speak. So within a day or two, they'll have all of the work done. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Anybody want to say?
I'm gonna have to abstain. I'm not sure, but there might be one of these. Is my brother. I have no interest in that company.
Yeah,
I don't get a penny out of it. There's nothing.
Yeah.
But it's Vitaly. So I'm gonna abstain on this.
okay. Any discussion, questions?
Anybody second?
Fred, yep, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna say no because I don't like how it came in so late with the timing on it.
What do you mean came in late? They're doing the work right now. It's coming in early.
It's early, but the invoice says the work's completed. You said they just started it today.
Well, they started 2 weeks ago, but they're completing it.
Is it complete now?
No,
Then I can't sign off on a voucher. It's not complete yet. This is my personal preference.
that's fine.
The binders don't, the top will be done tomorrow.
I can come back in tomorrow and sign it.
Do we approve it based on the fact that it's not given the check until?
Well, the check won't be done until tomorrow anyways. So, yep. Yep, they won't get the check. So as soon as they finish the work, we'll get the check and then they have to cash it. Then we have to get a copy of from the bank. We have to get a copy of the canceled check in order to do it. So, and it's 100% reimbursement. So if we don't get it on time, we don't get the money. So.
So are we gonna cut the check or not?
It's-
Or do I have to
it's-
vote and I don't have?
No, it's 3-1-1.
3-1-1.
Yeah,
So
it
we're
still
good.
carries.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, 3, I didn't, yeah, okay.
Okay. Yep. Okay, we're good.
You got Tony over there sitting
Got it. You
down.
sitting there being all quiet?
All right, so next thing is to begin our budget workshop for 2021. We're going to start with the highway fund first. Darcel, you're welcome to go.
Okay. I'm hoping that anybody that needed a copy of the budget printed it out for themselves or it was made available to you. If you told Tammy that you wanted one, she would have gotten one ready. Almost everybody's been in the budget meetings before this time. I always have a spreadsheet up that shows the budget, the tentative. We're working on the preliminary now. With this spreadsheet, we can make adjustments, changes immediately to the budget, and we can see what the results are going to be. Starting with expenditures in the highway fund, I am set it aside initially $25,000, now $30,000 for one of the large 10-wheel trucks for the highway department. I believe that Tammy has passed out a piece of paper to everybody that is entitled 2017 Dump Truck Purchase Replacement Plan. We discussed this last year. When we bought these 2 trucks in 2017, they cost the town $303,466.
A piece.
Because we bought the trucks back to back, chances are good we're going to need to be replacing them back to back. If we were to say that the cost of the truck was going to go up 1%, 2%, or 2.5% a year, which is a pretty low number probably, you can see if we had to buy both trucks this year, we'd have to spend $315,000 for the 1% column. But if we wait until 2027 and we put away $47,887 a year, we'd have the money to buy trucks. Whether we'd have enough or not is hard to say, but at least it would be setting something aside. We already have a vehicle truck reserve account set up. So I have changed from the $25,000 to the $30,000 for the preliminary budget, because if you go down and you look at year 15, if we put away $29,359.59 a year, we would hopefully have most of the money needed to replace the 2 trucks. Now, this is only talking about the 2 trucks. This isn't talking about any other big trucks. It's not talking about front loaders. It's not talking about small pickup trucks. So I think it's important that we start making a plan to get some money in reserve for this upcoming purchase in the next 10 or 15 years. So that's what that is. That's putting money into reserve. Moving down the spreadsheet, everything that's got a green line is personnel cost. Everybody has a flat 2% increase. I know that that's not set yet. I don't know if it's going to be less. I don't know if it was going to be more, but that was the number I was given to work with.
We put money in there just in case we had to settle, you know, but if the board doesn't want to do that, we can, and I know what we're going to go into negotiations with, but this is for budget purposes only. So I don't think we're going to go over that amount. But, so if we come in under that, we'll have extra money in our budget.
There's an increase from the tentative budget to the preliminary budget because the board hired Mike Villano as a laborer. And the question has to be, will he work next year or not? If he doesn't, I will just simply change this number back down to the 65,260. If the board thinks he's going to stay on, then I'll leave it at the 76,000. If you can't make a decision before the final budget, you are over expensing because you've got an employee that you don't expect to have here.
So I'm looking at the budget that you just sent me, and it doesn't look anything like this. So I'm having trouble correlating the 2 documents.
If you look at the budget, the tentative budget that was sent to you, that's a PDF printout,
Yep.
you're going to see the $65,260 number on there. Because what you were sent was the tentative budget, because that's where we start the process.
So
I can't make immediate changes to that document and quickly assess how that change is going to impact the overall budget, where with a spreadsheet I can.
no,
So-
I get that. Is there?
You got the right account there?
Yeah, I've got the right account. The problem is that I'm having trouble following, because I like to,
Yeah.
so this is the highway,
Yeah.
start of the highway.
Are you on expenditures or revenues?
This is attorney fees project, judgment claims. transfer.
So
Miscellaneous.
Now, brush, weeds, transportation, sand, salt, debt service.
Page 1.
You gotta look for transportation, you know,
Yeah,
bonds.
there.
It's on page 1, starts right in the middle of the page, general repairs,
All right, hang on.
personnel services. And you're looking at the very last column, proposed budget. Is where
Okay.
you'll see the 62,250. If you're looking at that PDF, what it tells you is how much was spent in 2018, 19, what has been expensed to date through May. I didn't update this, obviously, because I'm not going to update this document. When you had it, that was the thing. I
Right.
show you your adopted budget, if it was modified or not, and then what we're proposing.
Okay,
And now the
The,
spreadsheet will roll down just like the PDF that you've got.
all right, thank you.
Okay. I'll let the board decide at some point whether or not how you want to handle Mike Villano. The next items, as we look down here, you can see same as 2020. That needs to be deleted, and this needs to be deleted. Use the exact same budget. Machinery, personnel services, again, 2% increase, Mike Villano in there. Fred, you may want to know how on the world I managed to come up with this number. I go back and look at the last multiple years and come up with an average of how the highway dollars were spent over 5, 6, 7 years. And then I come up with a number based on the number of people we've got, a bunch of overtime, because there's always a bunch of overtime because of winter, and then come up with a number, and then I divide the numbers out based on the percentage of prior year's expenditures.
Okay.
Things might change because if we decide that we're going to put $30,000 of personnel over into a special project, it gets pulled out of somewhere in highway over to general, sewer, wherever. As you can see, continuing down, not really any changes here. Not planning on any purchases this year, especially because of COVID-19. We're not sure on how money's going to flow as we move forward. I'll talk about that when we get over to revenues. On the other hand, Bob, I see that you're back there in the corner, I think. If there is something that the highway department is needing for the coming year, now would be the time to mention it.
Yeah, this is the last year we paid for that loader. And, I don't know, we might want to get an estimate to upgrade it like we did the last time. That way we're still in a new loader with a year's guarantee. It just turned to 2,200 hours on it. And see if that would work out.
I'm going to make a comment here. We have been paying for a front loader for 7 years now, 8 years now, at a cost of $22,000, $23,000, $24,000 a year.
Right.
And we've gone through 2 of them in that time.
Right.
23,000 times 7, we've spent $161,000 that we paid in cash for 2 front loaders.
Recall, we had a junk case loader that we got, I think 16,000 for, and we purchased a new John Deere loader, leased it, purchased it with a set of forks that were 5,000 and 4 in 1 bucket. It was 19,000 and the loader with a 3-yard bucket. So in the past 7 years, you know, we managed to get a brand new machine and not have no expenses on it.
We have paid $161,000 in payments for those 2 front loaders. We have spent money.
Yeah, but the upgrade The upgrade, if I recall right, cost us $46,000 to jump in this new loader, and we would have had to put $11,000 worth of tires on that loader, so we were really upgraded for like $34,000, $35,000 the last time. You know,
If this machine is 6 years old, 7 years old?
this machine's 3 years.
Well, okay, but you've had in the last 6, 7 years, it's cost you $163,000.
Bought
We
two new
purchased
machines.
two.
I know that.
It's cheap. You can't buy that machine. If you had had that machine for 6, 7 years, it would have been junk today, right?
Right.
So that's really
Fred?
cheap. You can't buy that machine
Yeah.
out there.
Sorry, I mean, Mike, we have bought two of those machines in 7 years.
It's cheap.
So
cheap.
we should plan on spending $23,000 every year for the rest of the town's life for front loaders?
Well, if it's
You want-
equipment that we need, and equipment depreciates, I mean, it wears out. I mean, I think that we're talking about the same kind of thing as we were talking about for these
Trucks.
trucks. You know, we need to, and the only place that I disagree a little bit is that I think that this is a conversation that we should have had before today.
Yeah.
As far
Last month.
as that, and talking to Bob about what kind of things are we gonna need, what kind of, you know, and probably, you know, we're coming a little late to the party today, but I think that, I mean, the town needs to function, equipment needs to be purchased, and we need to plan for it.
Fred, Bob was sent the worksheets at the same time everybody else was. He had an opportunity to say something prior to this time. The worksheets were due back on September 21st, and I received something from two very small departments.
Okay, well, we'll just have to work on that moving forward.
Thank you.
So-
It would be helpful.
We're meeting on Monday for the water and sewer.
Mhm.
Can you have all that information for us by Monday?
Sure.
Okay.
As you can see, I've just added $23,500 for the installment purchase of a front loader to this budget.
I don't think it's gonna be that much, because do we get to purchase the bucket and the
No,
forks again?
No, you don't, we don't purchase the 4-in-1 bucket, we don't purchase the forks either.
We can adjust that on Monday, you know,
Yeah,
next
because
Monday.
keep in mind, the prices of the machine have gone up in 2 years.
Yeah, but
So I think that's probably a good number to keep on there.
well, for now, it's just it's just,
Yeah.
just,
It's a placeholder for right now.
yeah.
So the village of Palmyra 15 years ago had the foresight to see this, and there's nothing older than 2 to 3 years in the village of Palmyra, because what happens is they buy them, they use them, and they have a big auction in April, and they usually wind up making money off the trucks and use them for 2 to 3 years and not cost them anything, you know?
We never did
We're
that.
not fortunate enough.
We haven't been lucky enough for that to have happened yet.
Right. And I realize it takes a long time to do that.
So will they do a trade-in, or do we try to sell it outright?
No, they'll do a trade-in.
All right,
Well, that's our prerogative. We could do a trade-in, or we could put it on Auctions International. It won't cost us nothing. We could see what it bring or what, you know?
Whatever is better.
Yeah, we can look
Whichever is better.
at the options, sure.
Is there anything else, Bob, that you feel is going to be needed outside of standard purchases?
We really need a trailer to carry the machine or to roll around, you know, instead of driving, you know?
And how much is that?
Use one, you know?
how much is it gonna be? Just give me a budget number.
20 grand.
You buy a new one, you could buy a 20-ton or a new one for about 15,000, but it might be cheaper under state bid. I've never priced them, you know?
Line item for trailer for 15 grand.
We got some money set aside, I thought, was it for a loader or for equipment, or is it for a truck?
We've got $9,000 set aside for a truck, but again, at some point, we're putting aside $30,000 for a purchase to happen in 15 years, and if every year we put away money and then spend the money, we're not going to have the money when we need the money, if that makes sense to anybody, could keep up with that.
Well,
Um,
if we're putting money aside for the purchase of a truck or to upgrade, that should be in a reserve fund that we can't touch without, act of God.
Permissive referendum.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you, Fred, but historically, God comes in quite often. And I'm not trying to be smart about it, but we have started trying to set aside money, and then we go and we purchase a
PJC.
$40,000, $45,000 truck, and so the reserve account gets depleted, which is
Right.
why there's $9,000 in it now.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have to, we needed a truck, so we didn't have to pay interest on a vehicle to save money. So the money was there, so we spent it.
Yeah, I think that and I'm not 100% sure of the mechanism, but there is a way for us to designate a
It's a reserve
fund,
account, yeah.
that we can't touch
Yeah, we
without
can make it.
There is one. There is one.
But we shouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
So we've added $43,500 to our budget now. Is there anything else, Bob?
No,
Okay.
Clearly, we're gonna have to fire Tammy.
I don't understand that, I'm like, okay. I'm done.
This equipment repairs number, is always disconcerting because it is always ridiculously high. I know that Bob's answer is going to be, the problem is we have a lot of vehicles that are old and require expensive upkeep. And that's where we get into the same conversation of trying to get ourselves on a schedule for vehicles or all motor vehicles, trailers, front loaders, everything, where we could get on some kind of schedule where we knew when we were going to replace them so we can plan ahead. I will throw that out one more time, that would be extraordinarily helpful for us all. Through May of this year, we've spent $28,000 already. So we'll probably spend the 75,000 before we're done on just repairs.
I would be happy over the next, it's not gonna work for this budget cycle, but to sit down with Bob and whoever else and try and come up with a replacement schedule for things so that we can plan ahead. I would be happy to do that.
I'll second that. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't. One of the other things we've discussed is getting at a vehicle list, where and as vehicles and number the vehicles in a way that made sense up in the office, so that as invoices come in for repairs, we could actually see that this vehicle required this amount in repairs and have something real to look at. Right now, we're not able to keep up with that in the office.
We call them Bob 1, Bob 2, Bob 3, we just number them that way.
It's never good to put a person's name in because people come and go. This equipment rental number went up high last year. Is it going to need to stay this high again this year?
They had those special projects coming up this year.
no,
In 2021?
I think we're done with our big projects, aren't you?
Yeah, those were the big rentals, weren't they?
So that could probably come down. I would probably keep 2,000 in there and take 5,000 out.
Bob,
Just
does
in
that
case.
make sense to you?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm just asking because I know that, if we have something in here, $1,000 a shot's not at all unusual.
1,000 ain't really nothing.
That's what I mean. So is 2,000 too low? Should we go to 2,500?
Doesn't get you a week's rental on a backhoe, that's it.
Probably $3,000.
I'd put $3,000 in there.
$3,000.
Three.
It's gotta be realistic.
I'm willing to do that. Brush pickup. This this cost is going up a lot. I know there's a reason for it, but I have heard there's a reason for it. I'm not sure what it is. In 2018, we spent only $7,200. Then we spent $19,000 in 2019, and we've already spent $16,550 this year.
What is
This
that?
isn't personnel. This is grinding stuff. I'm not sure what this is.
It's actual material that gets grinded. You do have, the price went up because the Cuyahoga County Soil Conservation District stopped doing it, then we had to go to a private contractor. So I think the cost of going to a private contractor, plus we were getting more brush. We took steps to eliminate a lot of the brush pickup. We're closing it down. And I can tell you right now, Fleming is closing their brush drop off next week at the end of the month. And then if they close their facility, all those people over in Fleming try to sneak over here and drop their brush off here. Then
They don't even sneak.
yeah. So they come in.
They're here with
So
welcome arms.
yeah.
Well, can't we lock up the facility so the drop off can't happen because we should be
Blocking.
paying?
Rob has been blocking the
We started
drop
that.
off. And the other thing that we had talked about doing once the back of the wetland project, right now, Bob has contacted another supplier we have a whole pile of brush back there, and supposedly they might be able to do it for less than $10,000. And if they could do it to get all that grinding out of there for less than $10,000, then Bob can put all of the millings that's back there and mill put like a nice surface back there. And then we were talking about relocating the dumping area to the back area. And then we have a gate, which we can put on a remote control that only our people can open and close. And then we'll be able to lock it up on weekends and be able to lock it up without people going back there, and have a secured area to cut down on a lot of the debris that's happening back there. So the plan's in the work, but it's just a matter of finishing up the getting what's there now grinded.
So it looks like we're looking at 19 grand in the budget, right? So what
Bring it down to 12 maybe.
do you think that, well, as you're talking about that, 10 grand right off the top,
We're looking at 10 grand right now for actually probably out of this year's,
Out of this year's budget, we're
This year.
probably looking at 10 grand. I got a company from Buffalo that will come in and grind it once. And then
Take it from
they'll
us.
send a tractor trailer in every now and then. They'll call it ahead and we just load the grindings and they take it, instead of paying Eastcom to come in and grind it twice so we could get rid of it to the local residents. I don't care about grinding it twice. I want to get rid of it once. Because it's right away.
That money, 16,000, that's what we incurred in the spring, wasn't it? That first grinding?
Well, that last time we ground twice. We ground
Yeah, but-
late
right.
fall and early spring.
And this year it's only been that one in the spring.
Yeah, this year it's only been one.
So you plan on grinding again in the fall?
Well, I emailed the guy the other day. He gave me a price like $8 grand. It was about a month ago. And since then we've added, so I gotta let him check the pile and give us a firm number.
Don't tell them we added to.
Put it 12 grand?
Can I ask a question? Do we think that this $19,000 needs to go up?
Well,
No,
it's for next year. If we can put these controls in place, I don't think we need to go up. So I
Okay,
think
then let me ask
anything-
the next question. How much are these controls going to cost? I'm betting this locking, rolling special gate's gonna probably be $7,000 to $10,000.
It's already in place. We just gotta put a motor on it.
How much will the motor cost?
3,500 bucks plus running power out to it, probably 5 grand installed.
I got a price from Butler for like 2,800.
so you're talking 3 to 35.
Yeah.
So I'm up here gonna put $3,500 to add motor, gate. And now we're gonna call this the highway department because recycling's gone. In a little while, we'll talk about how handy having this detail is. And Okay, so we're gonna leave this at the 19,000, because we're gonna hope that when we only have to grind once, we'll be closer, instead of doing the 16,000 twice, which is gonna cost us 33,000 this
So
year
if-
possibly.
Take that money, this year's budget, then then we're actually starting next year with no debris there. and we
With a
can
clean
put-
slate, yeah.
And we can put the controls in and we can cut down,
The
then I
supply.
think, I
10,000 should do it then,
I would think,
next year.
yeah, at least, not even, I would hope for less than that, if we can get the guy to come back, do the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
And how much has he quoted, Bob, the first time to do it once?
8,000. That's
How
month
much?
8,000.
8,000 for this year.
No, yeah, but he's
It may go up to 10,000.
gotta check the pile again.
Who was the guy, Bob?
We had that storm.
Eastcom?
No, Eastcom's high. Eastcom's 3,500 a
So,
day plus
guy in
fuel plus a
Buffalo.
loader to push to it, Plus Eastcom, we're paying the operator from porthole to porthole.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so we're only getting like 6.5 hours of work. out of
Was he
it.
coming from Rochester?
Yeah, per day.
so we leave it as is and.
Yeah, leave it as is.
Okay. Snow removal, salt and sand. Bob, does that number look good enough for 2021? We're gonna go over budget for 2019 or for 2020.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or do you need more?
No, I think we're pretty close. Salt has gone up a little. We're still gonna buy from OGS. The rest of them are gonna buy from the county highway department. But they're pretty shaky right now.
Okay, because we've already spent $36,825, and that was just to cover up the beginning of the year.
We got
Um,
stockpile up
I
there
was
right
gonna say,
now.
you should have a stockpile, aren't you?
We do, but it's not gonna,
Will they get us through December or no?
yeah, it gets through December.
Yes, this is for next year, yeah. Okay.
We're gonna 3-4 loads of sand.
State retirement went up 12%. I've got the projections in from the state, along with going in and taking the numbers that we've got to work with on what they're working with. Everything's been adjusted for the dollars. Note that when we're talking about state retirement, we have a former board member who still the state has as part of their stuff that they're paying cost on. So I work off of their numbers, which means they're looking back a few years instead of looking forward, but that's the numbers I use.
It's good to know for the contract negotiations because there's more to cost than just salary increases, a 12% increase in retirement, which,
From what their estimate for 2020 to what their projection for the 2021 for us will be is 12% increase.
That's a lot.
Wow. That's big time.
Yep. Social Security, nothing you can do about that. 7.765% based off the payroll cost. Workers' comp, looked at the 2020 budget, added 10%. We're still waiting, as Ed knows, for people to give us a number on that. We were talking to them during the course of this week. They gave us a number. I think, did she say 5%, Ed? She said something and then she disappeared, and I said, but I need a breakdown. And they said, yes, you ask for us that from us every year, and every year we tell you you don't have it, and then they get it for us late.
yep.
Unemployment insurance, we self-pay. You might have noticed at the last round of vouchers, we had a $4,000 unemployment insurance. We're going to get a lot of credit back for that, but because of COVID, we may start having unemployment cost if we can't keep everybody working. Hospital and medical insurance has been adjusted based on the actual numbers that we got. The Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance went up 5%. I haven't gotten numbers from Excelis for the Medicare PPO. That I estimated at 10%. going up. There's a small possibility that at some point you all will want to talk about potential changes on that Medicare PPO because there's new information on that, but I don't know if this is the time to discuss it. And I estimated 5% increase for the SCEA, dental and vision. They usually are very small increases. Again, I have made an adjustment, so the numbers went down, but I've also put Mike Villano in because he's going to take advantage of some of the insurance. So there's that. Medical drug testing is got to do it. It's required. We've added the front loader. So our cost now, our number is $875,193.50.
Bob, you got that backhoe. Nobody talks about that. That thing's getting pretty old. Have you done anything? Do we have a reserve or do you have any program on that machine?
No, we just, it's.
I mean, that thing,
It's a 2008 machine.
that's getting old too. I mean, that backhoe and that loader are always on the road.
Right. Yeah, I know. Just gotta keep going.
Yeah, I know, but
So should
we
we go
should
with a
start
back?
throwing
instead of
some
a
money.
front end loader or no?
We should start throwing some money into the reserve for that machine too.
Well,
We're putting money in the reserve, I thought, for equipment.
well, that's,
Is it
yeah,
enough?
well, it probably isn't enough, but it might have to be enough this year. And then we put a plan in
As long
place
as we have a plan.
to move forward.
Yeah.
Because
Those are-
I'd like to,
Those are very important machines. If you
Oh,
can get a water break,
absolutely.
not water break, but a sewer break. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna think about it.
Now we'll go over to the revenues for the highway department. Real property tax, no change. Sales tax. To date this year, we have done extraordinarily well on sales tax, even with COVID-19 happening. Overall, I think we're down only 3 or 4%, which is a small miracle. Ed and I have discussed this a number of times. I am much more pessimistic than he is. I like to consider it realistic. But during the start of COVID-19, when a lot of people in Cuyahoga County lost their jobs, they also were getting an additional $600 a week in unemployment. For this community, that extra $600, we had people making more money unemployed than what they were making working. And so they were still out buying things.
everybody bought boats.
They bought boats, they bought cars, so our sales tax stayed very good.
They'll be- Next week.
But as everybody's probably paying attention with COVID-19, we seem to be into a second wave. We've had a number of new cases. The likelihood of another shutdown is increasing. And if we don't get funding from whoever wants to complain about whoever does or doesn't give out funding to people, if we lose it, we'll lose sales tax. So I reduced the overall sales tax in both the general and the highway by 10%.
I disagree.
Overall, the state's down, I think, 17% this year. And then I moved $90,000 from the general fund over into highway. And so both of them are going to sit at $562,500.
I disagree with that philosophy, and I'll tell you why. Because you're basing it off of our budget. You're taking 10% off of our budget or off our actual that we actually get.
Our budget, because we
Our
know.
budget was like 15%, our budget is 15% less than what we actually took, maybe even more. So there's a big difference between what we budgeted and what we actually get. So if you took 10% off the actual revenues, then I would say, okay, but if you're taking 10% off something that's already 15% less than what we actually get in, then you're saying we're going to get 25% less than we actually got this year.
Probably realistic.
It's
Okay,
not.
then I'll leave it the same.
So the sales tax revenue, it's just working things through in my head, comes from sales that occur in the
county.
County.
in the
Or,
county.
or this online that the county gets.
Okay.
Anything not in this, anything in the county that's not in the city, any purchase, like
The city takes its own.
the biggest ones are automobile,
Mhm.
retail, and gasoline tax.
And-
Those are the three biggest ones.
And that is distributed to the towns based on population?
No,
No,
Based on,
well, no, assessed value.
Okay.
So the 50% of the sales tax that's collected, 50% goes to the county automatically. The other 50% of what's left over gets distributed among the
Broken
21 towns based on assessed value. Since we're the highest assessed
Well,
value town in
well,
Cuyahoga County, we get the highest proportion. And, another reason to be able to go to a full 100% equalization, because if you look at the recent sales, our equalization rate went down again. We're at 73%.
72%, yeah.
It's going down fast.
It's going down real fast. So with the equalization rate, if it goes up, we're going to be able to get even more revenue coming in so that, we get the sales tax. Our sales tax right now, over the last year and this year, right now, Darcel, we're what, 90% of what we budgeted without the fourth quarter already there?
Yes. Yes.
So normally we're at 82%, somewhere around there. So I think that we need to, I think if anything, if we go down 10% from what we got last year, well, from this year, if we get 10%, we're gonna be about 10% over our budget this year in sales tax revenue. We're gonna be over what we budgeted.
What the hell?
So, by keeping it flat, we're still, in order to even not hit our budget goal, we're gonna have to have a decrease of at least 10% or more to hit, not to hit our budget. So I think we got a 10% cushion from 2 years historical values in revenue. So I think we'll be safe with keeping it flat.
Okay, I have, whoa. That is really a huge problem. What in the world just happened there? Sorry, my computer just lost its mind.
I see the red.
join the crowd.
What's the chat for, Fred?
what's that?
A little chat down the bottom in the middle?
Oh, that was when Darcel was
Oh,
wondering
so type
why
something.
we couldn't,
Oh,
why she couldn't hear us.
gotcha.
What was it? Did we decide what we're doing? or-
Gonna keep
Okay,
it-
so what I've done is I have taken the total amount of sales tax that we expected for this year was $1,250,000. I'm going to split that in half. I'm going to give 625,000 to the general fund, and I'm going to give 625,000 to the highway fund.
Okay,
Okay. Services for other governments, that is the snow plowing contract. Interest earnings is based on what we have earned to date. On September 2020, we got a huge increase in the amount of money we were getting for interest after Ed went and yelled at the bank and threatened to leave. They have come back and lowered it a little bit since then, but we're getting a lot more than we're used to. So we're hoping this will hold through 2021.
Question, Bob, didn't we get an increase on the contract for the county for,
Yeah,
do you know what that is?
it wasn't that much, because they tried to sucker us into cutting the roadsides too, at $150 a center line mile, and just nobody wanted to bite for that, no towns wanted to bite on that. That's why the county has been cutting the shoulders.
So Darcel, what I would do is I'm gonna have to look and see what you found it?
Yes, this is why it's sometimes better for me to be in my office. The
Yeah.
2021 is going to be 7,500, and the 21-22 is $7,800. And of course, the thing with that is it rolls across this year to next year. So I'm going to increase it to 7,500 because that's a little less than what we're expecting, but it's going to cover 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
So it gave us more money. And chips, let's hope that that stays the same. If everybody doesn't know, the state of New York, the governor has directed the finance people that if at any point in time the state has any problem with finances, they are already authorized to withhold all payments, chips, AIM, grants, everything across the board if they feel they won't be able to hit the numbers that they're going to need.
Also, what's not on there, you know, which has never been on there is the winter recovery. That's been an annual amount, and that's like, like 20 grand. So, that normally, we can check on what it was for this year, but you have the consolidated, but you gotta have the winter recovery, money. So, what the one, as you see right here, we get $80,000. That's pretty much gonna cover, you know, that's almost all of that. I think we got $75,000 total. in,
What are you calling that? The winter what?
winter recovery. Let's put winter reimbursement, recovery reimbursement.
And
I would just put 20 grand down, you know.
okay. Are we going to sell any equipment?
Well, we don't have nothing to sell.
Okay.
That's a no.
Okay, so we're going to bring in $824,262.50. Let me get to a different view here so we can get those pages off of there. Our expenditures are $875,000. We're going to take $50,931 out of our fund balance.
What's our fund balance right now?
This year, our beginning fund balance unappropriated. Now, unappropriated is the money that you have available to you to spend. It doesn't include revenue or reserve monies, okay? So we started at 547,000 here. We expect to get, if we get all the money in and all the money out, we spend all the money, our projected year-end fund balance will be 429,000. We are going to bring in 824. We're going to spend 875. Our projected preliminary fund balance is going to be 378,000. That's 43.22% of our expenditures this year. If we take $30,000 and put it into the reserve account, which we've talked about, and we've already said that maybe that number's low because this is only covering the 2 big trucks, nothing else. Then our unappropriated fund balance would drop down to 348,000, and that would be 39.79% of our expenditures.
Go back up to this year's allocations, please.
Of revenues or expenditures?
Revenue to expenditures. 'Cause I think, wasn't it just above, all the way down? 'Cause I think, back down to the bottom of the page. Let's see. Now, where was it where you had this year's revenue, this year's projected fund balance? Because I think we're not going to use any money out of this year's. We're not going to use any money out of this year's fund balance, I don't believe. Is that correct? From looking at the numbers that I see?
We would have to look at, hold on one second. I do not believe that that is a true statement.
We're working based on
I
the
wouldn't,
idea of keeping a flat tax rate,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
if your revenues are gonna be more than your expenditures.
no.
This is last year's. And last year we took last year we took $103,285.75 out of fund balance.
That's what we projected to take, but we're not actually taking, what's the actual numbers, looking at the actual numbers right now. Because of COVID, we make cuts back. We cut back especially in general account, not in highway.
Well, there's your thing. You cut in general, you didn't cut in highway. So
Where are we year to date? Where are we year to date?
here you are year to date as of June. Now, we've still got $399,000 that we're expecting to come in. That's
And-
sales tax. That's all it is. And
Yeah,
then,
we're gonna hit more than that.
right, you'll
Yeah.
get more than that. And then are we going to spend all this $507,000?
I doubt it.
I don't see how you can do it. I don't see how you can
This is
do
a.
it.
Hey.
Don't tell Bob.
I was gonna
Hey,
say,
well, I want to
Come on,
ask
there's
you, I want
money.
to ask you a question. Fred Kennedy's been retired for 2 years. We haven't replaced him. Criselli left. We replaced him with Blano as temporary, and now he's labor one with a lower rate. My highway balance has got to be, down.
For personnel,
For
for payroll.
personnel.
For, it's for one, that's for one category.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say.
But what I'm thinking is right now, I think looking at the unappropriate, based on these projections, we're assuming we're going to be spending the whole $100 and something thousand out of this year. And we're going to use that unappropriated fund balance, for this year, and we're not going to hit that. So I think our bottom line number is going to be much better than that. And I don't think we're going to need, we're going to be more than 39% at the end of next year. If we go, we're going to be over 40% fund balance.
No reason why we can't raise the reserve.
I think that when all is said and done, once we figure out exactly where we are from, at the end of this budget process, I think it's a very real possibility that we look to increase that 30 to,
Redo that.
yeah.
She just did.
If we can stay flat, we could put that.
She put 100,000 in there. So I guess it's just a vehicle reserve, so we can use it for any vehicle. So if we want to buy a pickup truck, we'd have the
Right.
money to buy a pickup truck. We wanted to buy a.
This is true, Ed, but if we've got $9,000, $9,700 in there right now,
Yep,
we put $100,000 in, and you go out and you spend $45,000 for a new pickup truck, you're defeating the purpose immediately of the reserve account.
that was at $30,000, but we're putting extra money in there for the other equipment that we may need. So it's not just for a particular line item, it's for all vehicles. So we need to know, only thing we need to know is we need to increase it every year. If we had to take a $30,000 out, we're still gonna have $77,000 in there for those other vehicles down the
But
road.
let me ask you a silly question. If you need a $45,000 truck, why don't we just buy it up here in expenditures?
in expenditures.
You've
instead of
got the money
And save that vehicle fund for.
and get the reserve fund for the big stuff that cost real money.
Like the $300,000.
Because we don't have direction from the highway guy to tell us that we needed one right now. So if Bob came back to us on Monday and told us that we needed it, then we'd be able to do that.
He does
So-
it every year. We should know about. We should plan our own budget.
Well, he already told us that Monday he's gonna be able to tell us give us that information, so we'll have a
See
better
what
idea.
happens on Monday.
Yeah, he does
Okay.
that
What
every
you're
year.
doing is you're trying to increase reserves.
Yes,
You have some money to do that.
increase reserves without
Do it.
increasing taxes. That's
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
what
We
we're
have the
doing.
money, why can't throw it in there? And,
We can,
Yeah.
you're not gonna draw the money out this year anyway.
no,
And next year, we don't need a pickup, or do we? So you can
Well,
leave
if you're
that
gonna
money
have
in there, we'll shove
you're
some
gonna
more,
have
We need
schedule-
two pickups next year.
Get it?
you think?
The one's hardly even, that one rust bucket hardly even runs down the road, that
Yeah.
Dodge.
We'll keep it going.
We need a good used pickup.
we get new, we want to be like Palmyra. We want to be able to rotate vehicles every
Well,
3
we're
years.
not in a-
Bob, we need to be like, we've been talking with this for 8 years. We need to be able to get to a situation like Palmyra. You tell us what you need and how to do it, and then we're the ones that do the budget, not you. So you tell us what you need, and you want 2 new vehicles, 2 new pickup trucks, you want one this year, one next year, then we'll, that way we're not buying 2 at the same time 3 years from now. Maybe we get one now for this year, maybe we buy one next year, then we buy another one the third year, so we got 3 pickups on 3 different years, so then when this year's pickup comes
In
due in
3
3
years,
years,
you get a
we'll be
new one.
able to trade that one in and get it.
Well,
That would
you
be
can't
the-
put it
that
all
would
in the
be-
pickup. I know you're using that as an
It's just an
example.
example, just an
Right.
example.
We're okay.
But we need to prioritize.
As an
We need
example.
to- And one of the things that we're doing, especially with the insurance just came in, we need to get an accurate inventory of all our vehicles. So we have that already, because we have it on our insurance binder
Mhm.
of all our vehicles, what
No,
year.
you don't, Ed, because you don't have you don't have the front loaders. They only insure the ones that are on the roads that are licensed.
That's not true. I just went
So
over
the
that.
vehicle lists are 2 different things.
Go down 'em.
Well, we need equipment list, okay? Vehicle and
Right.
equipment list, okay?
I gave that to Rich Snall 2 years ago. with
Well,
all the serial numbers.
Well, we have it on we have it. We just got to we got to update it. 'Cause we purchased it 2 new vehicles we purchased a new vehicle last year, so we'll update that. So tomorrow you come in, I'll help you get it taken care of. So we'll make sure it's taken care of.
And
Well,
you
and
do
then-
have 45,000 in this year's budget to purchase a pickup truck.
Yep.
That's different than the reserve.
That's right.
It is.
And it
No,
should,
it's in the budget.
This is,
Yes,
that's a
it's-
budget item.
Yep, it's in there. So we got $45,000 that we can buy a vehicle. If we got the rust bucket pickup truck, then we'll just
But the
go on the
reserve,
state contract pricing, see who's got it, see how soon we can get one, and we get it. And,
This
and the
year.
other thing is, I don't think we need plows for every one of these trucks, and I don't think we need so I think
Service
we,
bodies and all that, yeah.
we just get what we need.
So to Ed's point, and I think this is an important thing for everybody to have a clear understanding of. Bob's an elected official. He has an obligation to do the job that he was elected to do. Our obligation is to do our best to fund the things that he needs and we're not going to give him everything that he wants, but
right.
he tells us, this is what I need to do my job, and we find a way to
right.
manage it.
Well,
Right. Yeah.
exactly right.
Yep.
All right.
Only I could have said it better.
Here we
For
go.
all intents and purposes, we're now
Are we
down
on?
to the highway fund.
You making up your mind? Where are we?
What did you say?
Where are we?
It's in
I
a good
think
spot
we leave
now.
it, I think we leave it,
Leave it as it is now.
leave it like that
It's in
for
a good
right
spot
now,
What?
the 100,000.
Okay, that's fine.
Leave it there, and then we'll come back to it on Monday before we start the water and sewer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fine tune it.
and I'll probably get to you before that, and we can actually plug the numbers in, so we're not wasting times in here, so you'll have it before Monday. Hopefully on Friday, I can give you these numbers, Friday morning. Okay.
All
Is
right.
there- Bob, anything else?
Not that, no, not really.
Okay,
I know this isn't budget, but Frank Uriel was gonna be here to talk about the biaxy station, and we got a quote. At some point, you're gonna have to decide what we're gonna do there.
did Frank give us a quote or no?
He's got one coming
From O'Brien and Gear?
from O'Brien and Gear, instead of Vanna's.
Okay,
Because
here,
Vanna's is very high, I
Yeah.
think.
well, here's what's going on. And yesterday Bob sent pictures out, we got a situation where, we increased the amount of dioxide that was going into the machine by like 4 times what was going into it before. And a miracle, smell went away that we've been fighting for 2 years and facing lawsuits and facing all kinds of other stuff. So now the smell's gone, the people are saying, they're not complaining, which is a great thing. And 'cause they want us to build a whole new sewer line, so it's away from their house, just so they don't want it there. So we're not gonna do that, because that's gonna cost millions of dollars. We got a quote. One of the things that we get the dioxide from a company in Massachusetts or something, Connecticut. So they said that our tank is too small. We can save money by getting a bigger tank. we can say, we can get a automatic alarm system on, like a SCADA system on there, so if the gases get too high, more dioxide gets pumped in automatically, so there's no manual adjustments, so it's all automatic, kind of like we do with sewer and waters, everything's alarmed set up. So, which we have to do probably to prevent, so it's automatic. And then we just have to do routine maintenance. In order to get them, they're proposing that we lease all the equipment,
And they're gonna monitor it.
they would monitor it, and because it's sophisticated equipment, they have the expertise in it, and they can monitor it out there, they can monitor it here, and they can automatically do shipments and everything else. But they're looking at a cost of leasing it and maintaining it and everything around $1,800 a month for that particular dioxide machine, just to eliminate smell in the sewer lines.
And that's the sewer lines in that area.
That area, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just.
Just that one area?
Just this
So
is
it's just sewer district, well, what's the problem is, so it would be a sewer district 3 cost because it's their effluent. Because it's the smell's happening in sewer district 2, but nobody else should pay for it because it's generated in sewer district 3, so it's their cost. So Frank DiOrio, who's been helping us, works for O'Brien and Gear. He thinks he can save us money by his firm, doing the thing and try to cut down on the $1,800 a month and let them do it. And I don't know what their cost would be. So we're waiting on a quote from them to see where we're at.
To do the same kind of thing where we don't have to manually.
And so we're trying to do that before Monday's meeting, which is, and so we're,
Right now, we don't have no actual way of monitoring how many gallons. Right now, we're estimating that we're using 10 to 11 gallons a day on an off season like right now.
so
Okay, so if you took, say, 10 gallons times 30 days in a month, that's 300 gallons a month times 12, that's 3,600 gallons of bioxy. That system's 3 years old, so we went through 11,000 gallons of bioxy, and I called Connecticut and got all the loads here, and we've only bought, the first time was 1,000, the second time was 700, and then we bought 500. So that system has been not getting enough bioxy over a 3-year period, and that's why we're in trouble down in Sewer District 2,
What
looking at.
responsibility does the original engineering company have?
That's where I was gonna go there.
It's
I was
only-
gonna-
What the hell,
We
we
can't-
paid them a lot of money.
We can't go
I
back
don't-
on, we can't go
B&L.
back on Barton LaJuice because it's only 3 years on design and flaw, and it's 6 years on liability, so forget about that one.
Is that the first?
Yeah, but they
time?
designed it. We hired these people day after day and they're just screwing up.
Yeah, but we could go back and forth.
I know we could and we'll get nowhere, but
hence why we went with GHD, and GHD, they all pretty
They're all
much,
the
they all
same,
suck, they
yeah.
all suck. So
see, we don't wanna redo.
GHD,
these things that year
we
after
hired them
year.
for this project because we were frustrated with Barton and Judas.
Right.
And so we go, it's,
They're
as you
supposed to
know,
be, they're supposed to be
We had
Cadillac
some,
people.
Yeah.
we had some goofs by
We
GHD.
pay
also.
Cadillac money.
It is right that we have to redo this thing and pay for all this stuff when they didn't know what the hell they were doing to start out with.
the only
We should go to
defense,
engineering school.
the
What do
only
you do?
defense I can tell you is, the original design didn't even have the dioxide in there.
The whole pump station was an add-on because we
But
had.
they should have
extra
thought
money left
about
over.
that.
Yeah, they should have. You're right. So.
They should have brought this stuff to the
It's not
table
gonna
unless
make
there
any difference.
wasn't.
So everybody's brought up, so
Yeah.
are we done with?
Let's move on to the
okay,
budget.
Thanks for the highway. Anything else?
And
Highway.
Just to throw in there, we've got $12,000 in Sewer District 3's budget for odor control already. So that has been talked about with the Rich Null, and I've added a question, do we need odor control equipment upgrade? So when we go into that meeting, we'll have it here to remind us.
Frank will come in around
Yeah.
12,000
Frank was gonna be here
a
today.
month
Something
instead of
must have happened.
1,800.
So
He
we'll,
just wanted to explain to you guys.
yeah, so maybe we'll have him come
Maybe
in
at the
Monday.
next meeting.
Monday.
Yeah, come Monday, if he's available.
We got one Monday, we got a board meeting next week, don't we? When's our next board meeting? What's
No, we got
what's 2
we
weeks?
got negotiations,
We all set?
maybe.
Okay, thank you.
I
And
got
then we also got,
the town, the city of Auburn.
what's
and
that,
Oslo.
what's that gonna be, that one with the
5
city?
o'clock at the city hall.
Thursday at 5 o'clock.
City Hall.
This coming, not tomorrow,
No,
Next
next week,
Thursday, next Thursday,
29.
29.
at what time?
5.
5 PM
5
at South
o'clock
Street.
at City Hall, and it's just gonna be the board members,
It's just 8 of us.
8 of
10
us, and the steering
Steve
committee
Lynch
from the,
and,
Not
but
open
the
to
two of
public.
us, Debbie McCormick and I are on the steering committee,
and
so.
Stacy and Steve.
Is it gonna be Zoom? Because it's not open to the public.
It is gonna be.
Zoomed.
It is gonna be
Zoomed.
Zoomed, yeah.
It'll be like this, like he'll have the Cornelius eye here, you know.
Are we bringing this
Cyclops
down?
eye, you know, right there. Yeah, Cyclops, what you gotta do.
That's
Uncle
right.
Fester, right here.
That's
Tonight, Uncle Fester,
That'll work.
tic-tac.
That'll work. I'll do it.
Does the city have one too, or are we bringing ours down?
No, they got their own, yeah,
Oh, they're the same system?
no, different. They
It's
got-
different, but it'll live,
But Chuck,
it'll live stream.
but Chuck is actually looking at this and he wants your input on that.
Yeah.
Because he saw it, he thinks they might switch. They get the little thing that goes back, you know.
They got the one, yeah, they got the one that I initially gave you the.
Yeah,
the
he's not
quote.
happy with it.
Oh.
So he likes this one. So, okay,
Are we ready to start general fund?
yep.
Let me go back.
Okay. Basically about the same thing as the highway, tried to hold all the cost as close as to 2020, I'm sorry, as possible. Up here at the top, you're gonna see that I have put $100,000 into reserves for the town hall roof and building maintenance and potential new building upgrade stuff because we've got the space issues. $3,000 to go into reserves for the new server, which we have been doing consistently for the last number of years so that when we have to replace the server, we have the money here to pay for most of it.
Marcel?
Yep.
Can you just point me in the right direction again, like you did for the highway? I'm looking at, are we on?
We're on the general fund and it's going to be right at the beginning of your booklet,
Burger King.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a few pages in from the front.
Got it starts off, the page I'm looking at, it starts off with appropriations on the top.
Yep, and it says general government, town board, personnel services, contractual training.
Okay,
Okay, and that starts picking up on the spreadsheet right here where I'm kind of circling my mouse.
gotcha. Got it.
2% increase for payroll, not planning on the town board doing any training next year, contractual staying the same. And that just keeps going down. The only thing that might be a couple places of conversation is Rich Knoll. Is the board going to continue to have him volunteer?
Well, that's, I don't know. I mean, I've given the paperwork and stuff to try and properly, classify. And I hate talking about a person, it's a position.
Yep.
But classify the position or get it into the books. And that hasn't, nothing's happened on that with civil service. I think that we should just enlist the support of civil service, the County Civil Service Commission, or the County Civil Service, whatever her name is, Lisa Lipple and Denise Prieto up there to say, this is, and I think that they already did. You need the definition of the position, the scope of the work and all that stuff, and fill out those forms. And if that's something that we want to do so that we're able to keep him on, I don't see it as a long-term thing. Because the whole idea was, or is, that we have somebody who has some institutional knowledge that needs to be passed on to other people that we have on the payroll. So I think that there has to be a sunset on this at some point, so.
He's doing
The
that
other,
repair part, but he's not doing it on the cognitive side as far as the budget, as far as preparing budgets as far as passing it information. We don't have anybody right now. I feel comfortable passing that information on to in place. Unless Darcel wants to work 10 more hours a week.
This is for the water department.
Well, water, everything, water, sewer.
Sure, too, because
He is training the guys on the repairs and on how to do that. So right now, and then here's the other thing, one of the people he's training is Sam. Sam's already told people that one, he's out for the next 3 months. Two, he's going to be leaving, and as soon as he gets his 5 years and he's out of here, because that was 20 years in. So we're basically training him for nothing.
well, they say the comp doesn't,
Because he doesn't have any sick time left. He cannot count his comp time as work time. So he's
Right.
gotta work 1 year to get his 5 years in.
right.
So he's in a bad situation. So we need to get someone, Chris Driscoll, according to Rich, good person, good worker, but has no interest in any type of responsibility.
Well, the reality, I think, is that if we don't have somebody who's willing the work, then we need to, then we don't have the right people in the job.
Right.
We need to, if that's part of the job, whoever's tasked with doing the administrative part of that, and if that means that we need to create a whole new position of, director of water and sewer,
Cough drop. Keep coughing.
if
Yeah,
we need
Director
to,
of Municipal Utilities.
yeah,
Which
if
would
we
cover
need,
both
if we
water
need
and
to
sewer.
hire somebody to do that, then we should create the position and hire somebody to do that.
We
That's,
talked about that last year, and
you know,
then we dropped it all.
but that's not, I mean, if that's something that we need to do, and I think it is, I think that we need to have another department head, basically, that says that's in charge of this. And if that's what needs to happen, then we go to civil service, we fill out the thing, they do an analysis, they tell us exactly how it needs to be done, and we do it, and we hire somebody, and we could hire somebody provisionally in once the position is approved, we can hire somebody provisionally to do the work. But it certainly seems like we're looking for an administrator, somebody, a boss, and we don't have anybody right now to do that. So let's create a position. and do it.
Can we put some money, I guess the question is, are we gonna keep that salary in there for what we had him in there for? I think, if we put it in there, then we can, as a outside contractor, so until civil service approves it.
No, why don't you just name him an independent contractor?
We can't just call it something else and then have them do work that's a
And
civil
change it.
service title.
Yeah.
Well,
He
it's
doesn't
not-
have to be civil service if he's not on the payroll. And we hire people to do independent work. Rich works completely independent. He comes in when he wants to. He does what needs to be
And
done.
I don't have any problem
when
with
he needs
money
to.
into the budget to say, we need somebody to do this work. Let's figure out how to do it, and this is what they're gonna get paid.
Let's put some money
Yeah.
into the budget for that, though.
Okay,
But-
but there's a difference of if you put him in as a payroll, you have additional cost. If you put him in as an independent contractor, you're not going to pay payroll taxes. You're not going to pay workers' comp. You're not going to have some other costs that are going to be in there. And he will get the money and he deals with it his own way.
Yeah, but that's,
He
it's,
should be an independent contractor.
yeah, but it's a question of legal or illegal. That's the question.
I don't know if you can
Let's-
hire,
I
How's
will-
he different than David Stathis?
if he comes in as a contractor, he's gonna have all kinds of paperwork.
That's his responsibility.
That's his, yeah, but he'll just
Right.
provide
Is he
it.
gonna, is
Yeah.
he gonna put it that much into his little business?
I mean,
You know,
Dave
it's gonna-
Stathis is
it's
a
gonna cost
contractor.
him money.
Also, this
He
is
works
all assuming we're doing this for Mr. Nall. I mean.
No. This is not, I disagree. This is
Because I don't
not
think
assuming
he's-
that we're doing it for Mr. Null. This
I
is,
don't think-
we're doing it for the
Position.
town.
No, I
And
understand, but I don't think he's the right guy for this position, an administrative position.
No.
I think we should get somebody that comes in
We're talking
outside.
about two different things.
Outside
Talking about a
eyes.
short-term solution and Fred's talking about a long-term solution to hiring
You know,
director of.
That's, yeah, that's what That's not a long-term.
Right now, he's talking about a short-term thing. Rich, you gotta fill a gap at some point. You can do it.
If we lose Carter or Bruno in the middle of the night some night, who is gonna really know where all these valves are in the roads? You turn that valve off, shuts that area off of water, and it keeps this area. There's nobody in this town that can go do that, and I think that's what you're talking about. We need a man
Yeah, but
that's out there all the
I agree.
time.
That's a long-term solution.
Right.
Long-term,
yeah.
Something happens to those guys. They know where all the valves are, where all the
On a
pumps are.
different side note too, is what I talked at this sewer meeting for the sewer meter, master meter meeting on Tuesday. What day is today? Thursday? Yeah, Tuesday. I talked to the supervisor Fleming. And I said to him, you know, with Sam being out, he is, and Sam leaving in a year, it's a perfect opportunity for both municipalities to combine forces to look at a joint,
That makes sense.
a joint
Yeah.
group
Water.
to have a utility department with both towns sharing the expense. And maybe we even look at Springport as well, because they have water and sewer as well. So maybe we can get a 3-town municipality because, you know, because I think, I mean, if you talk to our engineers when they came in here and they tell us that we were understaffed for the amount of work that we have. Well, we got a filtration plant and a distribution schematic, and then we sell to other municipalities, Niles and Fleming. Niles hires Carter part-time already, and he's working after hours over there. They've got one person over there now that's full-time in the water, and they're looking to hire someone else full-time in the water too. So I think, but there's probably not enough work for everybody, but if we could have, you know, like John is the head of both municipalities and we're able to share those costs, then, you know, we would be able to be more efficient. Both towns would save money. So I think, you know, looking forward, looking ahead, that's direction that you have to go into.
Mhm.
So
So for purposes of the budget,
Yep.
I think that we need to put money in as if it was a payroll.
Yep.
And then if down the road, we needed to, we should be able to, if we have unallocated payroll funds, we should be able to transfer those out into another.
but the problem that is workman's comp and all those other things are based off projected payroll. Everybody's waiting for us to
Right.
submit them. So if we know we're not gonna fill for half a year, putting in payroll, we're paying extra money for nothing. So we should probably just put it in a line item as a position. And then not call it a payroll position, call it an outside contracting position. Then we can always transfer that money into a payroll system that we had the money, or put it into a reserve, you know, or not a reserve, but so what's the term I want to use?
Well, yeah, I think that you're looking for escrow, but that's not what you're really wanting to do. We need to put it in a line item. What we have to remember is that if you put in $500 or $7,000, that you're going to automatically start increasing your sales, your payroll tax numbers. So we have to kind of, if we're going to give them $5,000, we've got to give them $5,000 plus 7.765% on top of it in the payroll line to cover the full cost that's immediate, let alone the workers' comp and other stuff. And the other thing that's important is everybody goes off here on this position. Keep in mind, right here, we're talking about the general fund. The work that Rich has done to date crosses the general fund, highway fund, sewer 1, 2, 3, and water. And so there could be a position that is an administrative position that's going to be fully picked up by the general fund. And with the understanding that, yes, it does cross all funds. I work in all funds, kind of, sort of, just to get anything done. Yeah, the general fund pays for all of my time. Tammy
fund
works
pays for
across
half.
the fund, so that might be another thing you look at is how that time gets divided instead of dividing it 780 ways to Sunday.
We could just split it, maybe a third, make it simple.
Yeah,
There's no such thing as a simple third, and third. The minute you do the third of the sewer, that gets split up between sewer district 1, 2, and 3, 71, 18%. There is nothing simple there.
so what's the easiest way to accomplish from a budgetary point what we're looking to do, which is allocate money for the work and then figure out how we need to do it later.
Yes, that happens. But also the statement that we can easily move money from one fund to another is not a true statement.
I didn't say it was easy. I
I
just said
know,
that-
no, it's not that it's not easy. It's not a true statement. You can move money from the general fund to the highway because the general and highway are financed by the whole town. You
Right.
can't put money into the general fund and then hand it to sewer district 1 or 2.
Right,
And so
Right.
you can't just, if you transfer the money, they have to transfer the money back. So you can't, that's where the sticky wicket is. Now, Ed's job covers everything.
so
So-
my thought is that we looking forward, and I don't care what however it works, but if we put, $40,000 aside for this, I don't know, I'm using that as if we put $40,000 aside, and put it in I don't care what we do, we put it in a line, and then if, as a contractor, but I'm not advocating spending that money right now. I'm saying we put it there so that we've got it in the budget. And then we figure out how the, civil service is going to
Logistics,
allow
yeah.
us to do what we want to do. Can we put it in, can we put 40 grand in a line that says,
Tentative
tentative work for, or tentative,
planner,
yeah, I don't even know what the hell to call it.
Contractual.
planner funding.
Contractual cost or something, and then,
Contractual.
and then if we decided to, in June, we had everything put together to be able to advertise for a position, whatever it may be, could we then take that money and allocate it to a personnel cost?
Here's an idea. Why can't we just call it deputy supervisor? We don't have, can we just call that person deputy supervisor?
Well,
I'd call the person a deputy supervisor because the supervisor can appoint anybody to be a deputy supervisor. I think the only requirement is they have to be a resident of the town, similar to a town clerk person. Deputy.
yeah, the problem with that is that puts whoever's in that position in charge when Ed's not around.
Right.
And I would not, I
But they
would not vote
but they
for
don't
it.
have any voting, they don't have any.
They don't have any voting rights, but I wouldn't be
Yeah.
in charge of that, or I wouldn't be in favor of it, but I think that we gotta, and this happens at all levels of government everywhere. We try and put a square peg in a round hole when there's a mechanism to do what we want to do. It just takes time and we don't want to do it. We want to do it right now. And the problem is, this particular individual was on the board. He decided not to run for the board anymore. And he was performing other functions that were not board functions. And, and that's, we unfortunately have lost that resource as far as I'm concerned. And, he's still continuing to do it. It's a little bit of a shady operation in my opinion. And I think that we just need to say, this is what we want to do. How is it done? We want to call it whatever, and just go to the people that make the decisions, which isn't us, it's civil service that makes the decision. If you're employed in in any kind of municipal government civil services controlling. Even if they say that it's not a testable position, they're still controlled. So the question that I have is, can we put that, whatever it is, 40, 45,000, can we put that aside? And then if we decide to create a position to put on the payroll, can we move money later?
Yes, as long as it stays in the same fund. And honestly, I would argue that this position probably should go into the general fund. There
That's what I
could
think.
be a, there could be a simple argument that Rich Knoll shouldn't be going out and putting in grinder pumps. This person shouldn't be going out and doing grinder pumps. This isn't field work. This is going to be figuring out how we get the knowledge that Rich has on doing the paperwork, reporting, that side
Yeah.
into this office.
So that's my suggestion, is that you can call it whatever makes the most sense to you, but let's take 40,000 and put it away.
I've got under supervisor, contractual, I've got a new subline for the purposes of budgeting of administrative special projects, 40,000, with just a simple, similar to administrative reporting duties that Rich Knoll does.
That work for you?
Do we have the money to do it right now?
Well, we can, this is to budget it, for next year, and then
But we have to have the money in there.
Yes, you have the money.
Yeah.
As long as sales tax comes in, you have money. If sales tax flounders, we do have an issue.
Ed told us it's gonna be fine.
And I always believe Ed and the Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and, sorry, sarcasm.
George Washington, I cannot tell a lie.
That's right. Supervisor year end, that's the cost that Nacerno gave us. We're not doing the Gatsby 75 reporting. If we do it, it's going to cost us more money. Everything else stays the same. Tax collector, I'm going to shoot down to town clerk quickly.
Okay, go ahead, yeah.
Tammy has, she's budgeted at 2% increase. She has made a request for 10% increase.
So
The difference
just,
would go for here would be 43,820 to 47,258. And in the tax collector, it would go from 2,900 to 3,134.
so my thought on that is that right now, this minute, as I sit here today, I don't have enough information to make an informed decision on that request. What I'd like to see is, not every town clerk is the same. So you got to compare apples to apples. And I think that we need to know, like the Brutus town clerk, the maybe the Senate town clerk, which I don't even think is necessarily comparable, but, and find out what busier towns, what they're paying, what their clerks get paid. And not saying that but I'd just like to know before
Background, yeah.
before we make that decision, and then a little bit of,
And how many hours they work. stuff
Right,
like that compared.
right.
I think she
Just-
works a 40-hour week.
I work 40. I don't know if there's another one that works 40. Brutus I think she's 4 days.
I don't know if there's another town as busy as this town, is there?
But also, you've got to also
close.
look at what they do, because when we do go to town clerk meetings,
Mhm.
they don't do a lot that I do. Like, most of them don't even have water. We collect water billing.
right.
Most of them don't do anything with their websites. I did it all. Most of them don't even talk to their other departments, much less do work for their other departments.
And
I just think,
Yeah.
and it's fine, and I 100% understand what you're saying. But when we are talking and we are doing it, they can't believe what I do as a town clerk.
well, and I
Because
think that
it's
there's
not like their duties.
yeah, and believe me, I appreciate that there's employees here, you not being the only one that pick up,
The Slack.
things the slack that exists in all different government things. One thing we should, you mentioned the website. I personally think that we should contract that out or do something that, because there's a lot that can be done there that, it's funny because I was just talking about the
Yeah,
sheriff's
we did
office
that
website.
before.
and,
We did
yeah.
that before with the county. It was a nightmare.
Oh, I definitely
When we
wouldn't.
wanted something done, we couldn't get it
Yeah.
done, and that's why we came and designed our own.
Yeah, and I think
In
that
2 minutes, I
there's a-
could get it all up.
So
And,
anyways,
and Fred, we do contract with somebody for the website. It's not being done from ground zero here at Town Hall. There is a company that
that
that was
that
one
manages
example.
it,
That
and
was
we're able to make
Column
tweaks.
for
you
and
make
and-
changes and stuff, yes. And Tammy,
So-
the one other question while we're on that topic with you, were you planning on that, thinking the 10% on the vital statistics too? Or
Oh,
not
yes.
there because that went from 750 to 800 and then from 800 to 1200 last year and so
No,
were you,
because that goes by what the average of what those sales were, that whole vital statistics not.
so is that 1200 we're able to stay there or could that go up too?
Stay as is.
Yeah, that's a stay.
So I think that, the only reason that, and the things that I'm familiar with aren't really clerk stuff, but more justice stuff. And I know that comparable, Brutus is really busy from a court standpoint because they got the throughway and they take in all that stuff. So the court clerk in Brutus is extremely busy, and things like that. So I think that there's definitely merit to looking at it. I think that
So
I'd like a little bit more information between now and.
Salary comparison and hourly comparison,
Yeah.
job description comparison to what, like a spreadsheet? to
Yeah,
tell you-
to 2 or 3 other towns that are as close as we can get, and we'll identify the
Yeah, we
differences.
had that last
Yeah.
year.
The civil service can probably give you the salaries, right? You just call them.
Well, the clerks have done it a couple of years ago. They all.
But you can just call civil service, they'll give you everybody's salary for clerks.
Yeah.
Is that simple?
Just like we did with highway,
Hours or.
No, you gotta, that's-
Yeah, but you
just like
can,
you did with the highway last month.
well, you
they
can
gave you
give
all the
the
highway.
Clerks
Yeah.
Association or whatever, and
Yeah,
so if you could do that, that would be helpful.
I got it.
And is it possible to be done by Monday
Took the words out of my
yeah,
mouth.
she'll have
for
to
the
be.
next board meeting? I mean, because we're running it right at the end of getting things done and the preliminary has to be done so that when we publish for the meeting, I mean, yes, there can always be changes after that, but okay, so that topic's done. Everything else pretty much the same. Same assessor. This cost has gone up with the shared services with the county. From last year, it includes the starting work on the reval. If we're not going to do the reval, it goes down to $22,727. It's important to remember that we get a $14,708.40 credit because we have the assessor clerk here in the town hall. If that person goes away, we're going to pay an additional $14,000 per the contract. Everything else the same. I haven't heard anything from Mr. Galbato on changing his rate, so we kept it the same as it's been. Maybe he'll come in at the last minute and tell us he wants more.
He's not getting no more. I'm not. It's like he's got a job.
I haven't got any information on the election inspectors. Next year's not a big election as far as politics goes. This year probably will be worse. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough. We don't have to pay for any firewall or the firewall subscription because that's paid for through 2020. You can see the breakdown on the computer cost. We're to spend $3,000 for 3 new computers, Fred, so you know. Like the vehicles, we put in place a thing that says every year we buy 3 new computers, we rotate them around so we don't have old computers that break down on us and then we're sitting here for 3 or 4 days or longer waiting for something.
Yep.
We don't need a new server because we purchased it in 2019 and we put money in reserve every year for that. Buildings contractual, same as. We're not doing appraisal because we believe it's been done. We're waiting for it
Yeah, we
to arrive.
I talked to him yesterday. He's checking on seeing where it was because it was done. It was done, so we're just waiting for the actual report to come back. I think because of COVID, things got.
That was
pushed
the
back.
most confusing conversation ever.
Oh my God.
Computer maintenance. This may actually be low.
Or was it too low?
We've had a lot of extra work related to the computers this year, some of that directly COVID related. And as requirements for the computer security stuff keeps going up, this cost is going to do the same.
Yeah, I talked to the, we're playing, Nymer used to give us security coverage for free, but now they are experiencing a lot of claims on cybersecurity breaches. And people are being held hostage in different municipalities. And so Nymer is now charging for cybersecurity insurance. So I asked them, and they're not real, they're more of a bricks and mortar company. They're not into the cybersecurity. So I asked Bill Street to give me a quote from a different a company that deals directly with cybersecurity, who are experts in that field, and see what the difference would be. He's saying that some people are seeing the same cost or a little bit, a small increase, but you're getting a lot better coverage and you're getting people who actually deal with it on a regular basis.
We're talking about two different things, Ed. You're talking about the insurance. Okay, and I'm talking about the maintenance of the computers.
Okay, I saw cybersecurity down below. I just made me.
Right, and the cybersecurity policy we're having done now, I keep talking to Dave Stathis about it. Be prepared that it's going to come up as a new policy the board's going to need to review. And that policy is required as part of the insurance side of things. They're requiring that we do this, so we have a plan in place. But again, all of this stuff, new firewalls, higher security, better email service, better blocking of stuff. Do you know that Canandaigua got hit and they did the thing where they did hold them hostage and are asking for money and shut down their computers? So all of this stuff just generally will cost more, and you've got Dave Stathis being called in pretty regularly and ABS security.
Hey, Darcel, Trump was right. It's all China.
It's all China.
Oh, boy.
China.
Now,
He's gonna log off.
4 more years, 4 more years.
Oh, my God.
so I believe this number is probably low, and I think this number is going to continue to go up.
So you've mentioned a couple of times COVID related is, I know that that there has been some reimbursement money for COVID related expenses to other levels of municipal government, the county and whatever, either through the state. Are we eligible to have any reimbursement?
Everything that I have seen so far seems to be not, small municipalities aren't eligible. We can't get a reimbursement for the payroll cost and the other things. And the problem that we're going to have is we'd be having conversations like, well, yes, we had to buy a new computer, and to get the new computer, it required this time. And I don't know if they'll be able to actually say, yeah, that's strictly COVID related, or they'll say, yeah, but you're going to be able to use that computer forever. It's not cleaning supplies and face masks and
Right.
personal protective equipment.
Right,
I
well,
did
we'll just
fill
keep
out
our,
Today for, the court did get one for, PPE. So Mary sent it to me, so I went through our invoices and pulled what little bit we could legally count to get reimbursed for. So we've got 300 anyway that I'm putting in.
oh, good. So we'll just keep our eyes and ears open for those opportunities as they arise.
I have been trying to watch that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. We did save some money when we went under contract with ABS for some of the support that they're helping with now these days. Website design, we've paid that off finally. We spend $400 a year at least on our .gov domain. It cost us $1,950 a year to host the website. Hopefully that cost isn't going up. Everything else, we're pretty much holding the same. I did have a question on Wi-Fi unit. I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly this is. I don't know if this is something we added last year because we needed a new Wi-Fi for something.
I was thinking about adding a Wi-Fi module to the shelter, but I don't have the prices in on that yet.
Was that from last year?
No, I wouldn't have put in last year.
No, he doesn't submit it this year, so I don't know what it's from. I don't know what it's from.
Oh, out the shelter.
Yeah, over here. yeah,
Okay, I see what you mean.
By the playground. In case maybe we'll shoot the cameras back to the server here. The security cameras.
Well, is that going to be something that was supposed to be handled last year? This year?
No.
This
I
year?
just talked about it this year. We were gonna put it in next year's, in this budget.
Okay, well then I'm gonna keep that here. I don't know how everybody thinks that's gonna work because there's no service out to the shelter.
There's an
Wi-Fi.
antenna that they can put to shoot it over there.
What?
They can put an antenna on this roof and it shoots it over to, it's like a directional antenna.
It's gonna be secure and people aren't gonna be able to access it and we're not gonna have to worry about people
Correct.
getting into the system.
Yeah.
Tablets, we're expense tablets all over the place. This is the cost for the phone. Oh, that $500 is cost for the Wi-Fi that was going to be additional cost. That's what that is because it's all coming under telephones. We're spending $500 a year for one tablet for the service of having that. Hopefully they're all being well used. Insurance added 10% to this year's cost. Municipal dues are going to stay the same. Taxes are not going up, so hopefully we'll be okay there. Contingent account, same as always. Ed, we put in for the sidewalk project, $7,500 for personnel plus another $3,500. Nope. And then $3,500 to do the path to the pond. That's in materials.
45,000.
$7,500 for the work.
Yeah.
We're going to
So
pay.
we didn't put any money in for the actual sidewalks, but the path between the school and the pond over in that bench track over there. Cause we inherited the two properties over there, so we own the property, we own the pond now, we inherited that last year. So we have a direct path, so part of the project, which is part of the grant, 50% reimbursement. So whatever we spend, hopefully 50% of it comes back. So in kind will come back as well. So if we allocate them $15,000, we'll get $7,500 back. And so we could get that particular project done for half price.
Of course, let me point out that we haven't gotten a penny for work since the third quarter of last year.
We submit anything?
Yep.
So
We're not getting the money. So I'm not terribly confident about what's happening with that right now.
that's why we didn't put a lot of money in for the other sidewalks, because that's probably, of all the things that would assist the town more than anything else, that would. So it allows people, instead of walking the road, walk from that neighborhood to this neighborhood without going on the road.
Yeah,
because we don't have sidewalks.
And use their ATVs and their golf
No,
carts.
because there'll be a wooden railing with, there'll be a wooden platform like at the Casella Swamp back there.
Yeah,
The one thing that we are gonna have to find out about this whole sidewalk project thing is, was there a time frame on when it had to be done?
It was like a 3-year window, but
Well,
I'm sure it'll be extended because of COVID.
okay, I mean, that's one of the questions we may want to ask, because,
If it runs out, it runs out, we don't do
Hopefully
it.
it does. Save us some money.
Okay, crossing guards, 2% increase. I've got this down with 3 crossing guards.
I think we need to do a 2% increase
No.
for crossing guards.
no,
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to immediately go back in and make that change.
I think too, what I have told recently is we lost a crossing guard. We pay for crossing guards. City pays for the crossing guards in the city. We pay for the one here. School district pays for nothing. So because of the lack of students walking to school, we had 3 crossing guards. We had 1 crossing guard left. I don't see anybody walking, period. So we're down to 2 crossing guards. I said not to replace any crossing guards right now. We'll just go with 2 crossing guards. We
I
notified
agree.
the school. If they want to hire somebody, let them hire somebody.
I
I'm not-
agree.
Okay, so we're gonna go, no increase in pay, only 2 guards.
Correct.
Do they have any substitutes available at all, or we're not gonna worry about it?
Don't have any available right now, but we will probably look, if someone wants to do it, we'll have a crossing guard, but if not, we'll call the sheriff's office, have them fill in.
yeah, we'll just put somebody right out there.
Yeah,
It'll probably be me.
city would do it, city would do it. You know, if I call the heartbeat, you know, but
Sometimes they do fill in. For the
Yeah.
city, yeah.
goddamn, sheriff.
On the busy.
That's right.
Traffic control here is contractual, little stuff, not real traffic. Dogs control people came in at the same price as they had
Mike.
last year.
Hang on, Mike.
I did make, I saw Buda Shalace and he kinda, I think, geez, I don't know.
Okay,
He's doing troops.
okay.
Who he does stock control?
He does a great job, you know.
What does he do? It's Paul Brown?
Troop.
Troop?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so Mike was gonna look and see if we can get another person to do
Closer
it, but,
response, for quicker response.
yeah, but,
He lives right there. on
Closer by.
Fulton Street.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's
Well, if
good.
he can do it for quicker response and less money, then we're good.
But he's not
He's not
interested.
interested right now.
Well, there you go.
We're talking, so just so the board knows, can we go out and sign the contract with the other person then if we now have anybody else to just want to do an RFP?
We don't got much choice.
There's nobody else out
Yeah, I
there.
think you might as well sign your up. Yes.
The only person out there is Collier, and Collier, we had Collier before. And we were
Forget
disappointed.
It was
Collier.
awful.
He's
Yeah.
awful.
He's
Oh,
terrible.
I know, he's,
They tell you they ride around, they do patrol, they don't.
they didn't do anything, same complaint, someone would call them, they wouldn't call us,
He's
they
afraid
wouldn't
of
even call the town back.
He was afraid of the dogs.
Do we get a lot of complaints in Alaska?
No, we get 1 or 2 a month, and some months we get nothing.
Yeah.
The most we've had is 3 complaints in 1 month.
So this is, I mean, we vote on it. If you wanted to, I mean, this is a public meeting, so I don't have any problem with that. You want to make the suggestion. I'm going to vote no. We'll just pass it and
Yeah. I would
that's
just-
fine with me. I
We
mean,
can wait to the board meeting, but I just thought
Yeah.
if anybody had, if it's just,
yeah,
I'll try him again. No,
it isn't gonna, we don't
no,
want
this
to
guy
arm
does
twist
a,
anybody,
this
but
guy does a terrific job.
yeah, but if he gets overstretched, would he be able to do it? That's the-
He does, he's retired fireman.
Yeah,
it's just, I just have I'm concerned that it takes so long to get response here. That's all. So,
okay.
But for budget purposes, we're gonna leave the $3,900 in here.
I do the same, yeah,
Position at least.
Which that's $3
Well, we
grand.
have to, it's a state mandate.
yeah.
Safety inspection, no changes here. Vital statistics, no changes here. Transportation of highways. Now, I have, Mr. Bruno receives 10,000 to, if he was to get an increase in pay, based on the hours we've allocated for him, he would receive $10,248 for being the recycling manager. It seems,
That should come out though now, because he's not.
well, there's a question. Now, I have taken the money out of recycling, but I've added it in over here to his highway superintendent salary. The
Why?
town attorney has argued repeatedly that because of the brush something, he has to do this job, and so he has to be paid for it.
So we were paying for him for doing work he wasn't doing then? If he wasn't. doing-
Tim, I can't answer that question.
It's,
Well, that as
No.
response to it.
He was doing the brush.
brush is considered recyclable material, so that's why it's under recyclables. You don't get the term recyclable and recycling center.
So my question is,
mixed up.
when we outsourced the recycling facility, why wasn't his wage lowered then at that point?
For the same reason, because he was doing the other
But he
job.
was doing that before we outsourced it to WeCare. Was he not?
We've outsourced it for 5 years now.
Correct, but we
Quite
also,
some time, yes.
he was doing it before, on the 6th year.
He was doing the job in the recycling center before. I think what we did was we did it here instead of raising, because the thing
He
is,
still got his
do we
highway
raise the
raises, too.
salary or do we keep? So what Darcel had did was, do we combine all this under one category and call it highway and recycling superintendent, highway and brush, whatever?
I wouldn't change the title at all. He is elected as a highway superintendent, and part of his responsibility is taking care of the brush and whatever part it requires him to get paid for this money to do it will just be part of his thing. The only reason it says recycling manager added was so you all said, well, why did you give him another $10,000, Darcel? That was very generous of you. Or I can listen to this, which I expected. The other question could be, maybe he doesn't get $10,000, maybe he gets $5,124 because the duties as recycling manager has reduced tremendously since we're not doing it anymore.
Nothing's changed for the last 5 years.
Okay, so I've put it here. And the board just has to decide on whether they want to put it here or if we're going to keep this recycling center cost place going, even though we're not doing recycling.
I think if his duties haven't changed in the last 5 years and he's been getting this for the purposes of doing, I think we'd run into some trouble if we just took it away from him.
Especially with, what do you call it?
Camardo,
Huh?
Camardo Graham.
No, under civil service, you have vested rights after 5
Yeah,
years.
so
Yeah.
You're
I
right.
think we leave it.
Okay, do you want to leave it under recycling?
It shouldn't be called
Or-
recycling because he's not recycling.
Or do you want to leave it,
Call it
add,
brush pickup
add
or
the,
snow removal
Not snow.
or cleaning trucks, but not recycling.
Recycle,
He's not recycling anything.
well, now here's,
natural recycle.
let me throw this thing out to you. Bob is an elected official, is not reported to civil service.
Right.
His position as the recycling manager and the sewer superintendents are civil service positions.
What she's in there for. Yep, as a director of municipal, they made us change it to director of municipal works, whatever so, because he does sewer and he
Right.
does, he has multiple jobs. So they created his position or civil service as director of municipal works.
Right.
So this is part of the civil service classification.
We should call the salary municipal works.
But we
not-
could just make that position go, that portion of the position go away, and then just add the money into his highway thing and
I
just
like it
forward
here
and be
because
done with it.
I like it outside in the general fund because then he works for the board. He doesn't work as an elected
Right.
official. If we take it out of here, we lose control.
Right.
So, but
But
as
it
with
shouldn't be called recycling. It should be called
brush, just call it
utility.
brush
utility.
manager.
Well, call it what the position is through the civil service. Utility, what'd you call
utility
Well,
director.
but except for Tim, there is no classification for a director of a blibbity blubbity blub in the New York State arm, I don't think.
No,
You're
Well-
making an assumption that just because civil service does it, the New York State stuff does too. What do you think it's called, Ed? Director
Utilities.
Yeah,
I have it someplace. I get the.
I looked at it at some point and
But does New York State have a classification called recycling manager? I don't
They
understand
have a title that is this refuge and garbage. All these account numbers are dictated by the state.
why. Correct.
And so you've got to fit stuff kind of sort of in these classifications.
Arguing over a
And
name tag. It's on a budget line.
Well,
So-
We all know what
if
it
his
is.
duty's not recycling, I mean,
I think, Tim, where you're getting stuck is you're wanting recycling to be me taking glass, plastic bottles, paper, and recycling it. And really, it's a refuge and garbage manager. And if you would think of the brush, sticks, and leaves as refuge, then you would not have as much trouble with it. Because really, that's what it is, refuge and garbage manager.
That's a
It's a
state.
suggestion.
No.
yeah,
Everything else is
Go with
taken
that.
out, is zeroed out.
It'll work.
Yeah.
Yes.
refuge manager.
And that is one thing that when we get down there, I zeroed everything else out. And he's going to need to have to figure out that we don't put cost there anymore. Any of the utilities, the electric, the telephone had already been turned off, but the electric now is going to go to the highway garage, which means that the general fund pays for it because that's part of the general fund, not the highway.
and I was curious if he's gonna have access to fill in that building with debris and stuff again, or is he gonna keep it tidy?
We'll,
That's his, you know.
yeah, we'll, if we need to address something later on, we can, but we can't.
can
We don't
put
have a
the trucks
crystal
in
ball.
there,
We can't look into
We
the
got room for
future.
all the trucks.
Yeah.
No, it's cold storage, but still.
Well, I suppose they're out of the weather.
Yeah, right, true.
So there was no other changes there. I've taken that money out, put it back in the refuge and garbage area. Garage, we're straight across. We've got a tablet over here too. We've got GPS. I would kind of like to, we've got to look at this because I'm hoping these numbers are right. Because a new GPS unit should have gone into the new utilities truck that was paid for by the sewer and the water, but the water's picking up all the costs. And I don't even want to go there personally. I think we just should start buying everything under the general fund and stop the fight. But the board doesn't like that idea. Street lighting, Ed, you asked me at one point, yes, we are saving money on street lighting now that we've put in the LED lights.
Good.
And a significant amount of cash. And through September or through May, we've only spent $8,000. So this number should be absolutely fine. Back in 2018, we spent $57,131, and we'll probably come in under this 40,000 with the new lights. I have canceled the programs for Melrose Senior Citizen for safety purposes due to COVID-19 as Darcel's reasoning. I would like to get this back when the time comes, if possible. I kept Scat Van and Senior Nutrition the same.
The trips and stuff,
Well, technically, we pay for half.
half of the.
What they spend.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, we pay $1,200 or $1,000. If they want to spend $4,000, they can, but they only get X dollars from us.
Or- or-
At some point, I would like the board to consider increasing the senior nutrition.
But that's based on actual meals from the previous year multiplied by a certain figure, and they provide us with those figures, and that's what they asked for.
Nobody's ever given me those pieces of paper that showed that. Because we're an aging community.
We're a
Hey,
wealthy community.
speak
and
for
most people
yourself.
don't. Yeah.
Well, I know I'm getting older and I hate to tell you, but if you look around the room, you know,
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
have canceled the summer program for the playgrounds, again, for safety reasons. I don't
Next,
think that we're going to be up and running full steam ahead come next summer.
Done a vaccine.
yeah, I
Ask
think
us in 2
that,
weeks.
I think that that's an awfully defeatist attitude for us to take.
Well,
I mean,
then
all of the,
if that's the case, Fred, the cost would be $7,300 for minimum wage, board directors, 4 days a week for 7 weeks. And it'll be $1,700 to bring Steve Smith back in for recreation
well,
director.
I think that
You
if
made
it's a
him choke.
program, you can't just say, well, you know, I think we need to plan for being fully up and operational, because what happens if this is all gone because, you know,
Democrats take over.
we got the vaccine. Yep.
Okay,
Democrats are gonna take care of everything. They're gonna get it all set. And then we're like, oh, well, sorry, you know, we didn't budget for
money.
it because we thought the end of the world was coming.
No playground.
No playground. Playground's off limits.
okay, then I'm gonna give the Melrose seniors back their $1,000 too, using the exact same logic.
That's exactly, I would be 100% in favor of that. I
Okay.
just don't think that you can.
That's back. Hold on 1 second. Playground summer miscellaneous program. 500.
Swim program. Where were
Contractual.
they swimming?
Any YMCA.
Oh, yeah?
We said, yeah.
You have a pool in the basement, you never run down the
We still
basement.
Had that in a
We
long
had a
time.
library program too.
Fred, it's right next to the
Yeah,
printing
yeah.
presses that we have down
We
there.
paid for a librarian at the school up here.
That was,
She worked for the school
Pat.
district. And so, yeah, Pat, yeah, and we paid for that. And so when we were paying, we only had like 1 year, I think it was my first year here back in, I think 08 or 09. We only had like 3 or 4 kids participate in the swim program. We were paying like $7,000 to the YMCA.
I think Fleming still does, or they did it longer than we did.
Yeah,
Our kid went to Jordan, I think.
yeah.
Hmm.
So when we only had 3 kids, we were paying $7,000. We said, it's time to call it a.
Yeah, for 3 kids.
Take them down to the outlet.
Yeah. So sink or swim.
All right, how we doing?
Hold on, I'm wanting to get my numbers back in here because of what I took out. This is 500. And I think that is it. That puts all the money back in for the summer program.
Yeah,
Poor little kiddies.
I know. Wow.
Well, I was trying to save money for everybody who says that doesn't happen. Shelter and bathroom maintenance.
Probably went up.
That should go up.
Oh, it went up a ton. It's ridiculous what we've spent on cleaning this bathroom this year.
What we should do is maybe make that part of Mike Bolano's job duties instead of,
Paint Steve.
Do an extra, Steve.
You can't, because the minute you make him a union person, he's going to get called in and you're going to have to pay him for 4 hours unless you can change something.
During the day when he comes in the morning.
Yeah.
What are you going to do on the weekends when the shelter needs to be cleaned or when the pickleball kids are here? On the weekends. So I've got Steve Smith in here hoping that he can clean in 4 hours those 2 bathrooms twice a day for 13 weeks.
My kid.
It would cost that much money. The reality is it takes Steve 6 hours to clean the bathrooms twice a day, and that's not doing a thorough cleaning.
Get a hose in there.
6 hours.
Oh, it takes him forever.
He's vacuum, he's doing the sidewalks, spraying the sidewalks, spraying the other things down too. He does other things besides the bathrooms, but yeah, pick up trash,
Yeah.
empty the trash cans.
So hopefully we can get this number close. We spent easily 1,000 more than that. We have talked about a DVD camera. I don't think we did that. We were supposed to have bought a bike rack this year. I don't see it.
He's not gonna buy it. He says he had one he can bring down,
Yeah, I
so.
was gonna say I can get one of those at the city for you.
The DVD camera. Are we,
Yeah, we got a price for that, but I don't have it with me.
You want it? I'll grab it.
You know, is it handy?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it was like 20,
Put 3,000 down for now.
2,400 bucks or
That's-
something. To put security cameras around the playground. and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
For those 6 cameras, I think.
Does the fire department have any security cameras?
They do, yeah.
Any of them face the,
No, just one that shines towards the parking lot and
Okay.
towards the back building.
If we're gonna,
But I
we're
think
gonna
it's good
have,
for
if we're gonna
liability.
have gang violence in the playground, we're gonna wanna have some cameras.
well, they had a problem.
Says that
They had a
Multiple.
problem.
Goddamn city, you gotta get the city to open up their basketball courts.
okay, now here's a question on this DVD camera. Is this gonna be up and enough so that it's vandal proof? Or are we gonna have to spend another $3,000 making it so that they can't rip it off the wall?
No, it's gonna be in a secure box, next to the electrical panel.
It is a reasonable question, Tim.
Oh, no, I
I
agree,
mean-
yeah.
I'm not trying to be facetious here.
There's- We only have stabbings, we don't have
Right.
vandalism.
No vandalism.
No way.
No.
Yeah,
Why
no
you said
state.
that.
We just have people who don't know how to park.
Rid of the basketball players, we'll be good.
Or that pickleball. So I'm assuming that we're gonna put the public market back in too, because of the same reason. We don't want to be so
Was 26.
bad about things. So we'll add the public market back in.
2,000 good.
Across the board here, everything stayed the same. Planning board stuff, Sewer District 3 should be done for good and ever. Property mowing, kind of a joke. This is really set up for if somebody's house, the grass gets 8 inches long and we've got to go out and mow it for them.
Right?
Charge
That's what
back.
this is. It's not us doing the mowing.
We would, if it's a,
Levy the
I mean, it would
taxes.
charge back on the taxes, right?
Anyway,
Unless it's
You got rid of the
foreclosed.
farmer's market?
No,
put it
we're
back in.
Oh, all right.
keeping it,
Another thing I do. I just want to let you know.
we're keeping it.
I started it. I'm there every time.
You're
Um,
growing
Let you know.
cucumbers?
It's one of those things like strawberry fields over there. She's got the things, hydroponics there. You got cucumbers.
Elder.
what are you doing there? We said wetlands remediation. Nope, that was wrong. Delete. This went in the wrong place. Sorry, this should be 2,000. Ed provided some new numbers today to get this project finished.
Well, it's a 5-year, we have to monitor it by DEC consent order. We had to monitor success rates, and based on a 15% failure rate, these are the numbers that we got numbers for.
So, copy, paste. So that's cost for finishing up. I'm assuming that some of these things, Ed, might go year after year.
For 5 years.
Okay, wetlands, all of it
Yep.
will end
It's not
in,
gonna change, it's not gonna change much, but it'll change, 'cause if we
Is that
have
for
less kill, it won't cost us as much for plantings, but if we have more kill, then we gotta buy more plantings.
so will it end in 2025, 2024, 2026?
2026,
Okay, because I didn't know if this year counted.
5 years, we gotta monitor it for 5 years, and we're putting in 2020, so it'll be 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Got it. I just didn't know when our start date was for sure.
Is there money there for Walt to do that, or? she-
Yes, that's that $2,000, whatever it is there. The first line.
Well, that's just a hell of a thing. Didn't I put this back in here once? Something in this computer is not a happy camper today. I have taken all other costs out of this refuge and garbage thing except for landfill. Are we still going to be taking stuff to the landfill?
And we'll have stuff that.
We have stuff from the
people-
playground and from the highway garage.
And people dump stuff on the side of the road that we pick up.
Mhm.
So there's all kinds of,
Tipping, Phil,
we have like,
tipping fees. and-
Iowa people are doing a lake cleanup along the shores in Owasco. I told them they can dump their, they'll
What's
pick
the
it up
tipping
and we'll.
fee?
When we take the.
Yeah, but what,
dumpster
how
to
much
the-
is the tipping?
Oh, it wasn't that much,
It's,
So much a ton.
it's,
$1,700 last, 2018.
I see in Syracuse, their tipping is $100 a ton.
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't know what it is.
How's
our
that?
tipping is $35 a ton. That's just a tipping
That's
fee.
more than that.
I
No,
know
not,
your
no,
county.
not for $38.
Where's
a
that,
ton.
Camillus?
That's Sacramento's,
Of Seneca?
$38 a ton for tipping fees. And it's, then getting it there and getting it back, to get the labor costs.
yeah.
you know.
We're over.
Yeah.
No, the
man.
labor costs aren't in there.
I know, but
And the labor cost is going to be in the highway from now on. And the gasoline and all that stuff. We've already spent through May $607. I'm thinking that this needs to go up a little bit.
go ahead, make it 1,000. Excuse me. At least I stopped coughing.
Hmm?
At least I stopped coughing. I was biting my nails, so I was thinking about
That's because I gave you a
Trump
cough drop.
losing.
That's because I gave you a cough drop. Another thing I do, take care of all you guys.
There you go. Yeah.
Community beautification, 4,000, shade trees, 8,500. It's half of the 2020 budget. Do we need another ton of $17,000 here next year?
For where, shade trees or?
I wouldn't think
For
so.
shade trees, you put in $17,000. Last year, we spent $24,947.10.
Holy hell.
Go in the woods and get
Is-
it.
Johnny Appleseed.
What was in there? Was that the removal of shade
That's
trees?
gonna be removal too.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a cost of money.
That's what,
Not
so I
planting
think we
trees.
need, I think we need,
Just leave it
it's
there.
gonna go up. We're gonna have more expense. Because right now with the tree committee and they're looking at the trees, right now, having a tree committee, they talked to New York State Forester for the
Mhm.
gas and electric company. They're actually gonna go in and remove 17 trees for us at their
That's a lot
cost.
of money.
Mm.
Because we pointed out, we're paying prevailing wage for Cranebrook. The average tree that we're paying is, speaking of that, I gotta talk about that too, so the average tree is like $2,000 to get removed because of prevailing wage. So, last month, the lady called me again for over here on Swift Street
Oh,
Extension.
sure, we never did put that on there.
Yeah, and so, so the question I have for the board is that, remember the lady the tree, Rick gave us a determination, an
Right,
email letter
clicked on the
saying
what-
that it's
oh.
our property. It's not on a right of way, it's our property, it was our tree. So the question is, there is a clause saying act of God. Without an act of God not being put on notice, we're technically, legally, we're probably not responsible, but it is our property. And the lady called again and she said, look, I waited.
Well, I had mentioned maybe we offer to pay half and then maybe she could call the wire guys and say, Elite Electric and say, can you work on your price at all with me? And
They already did it, and Tammy did help them with that, because the first quote she had was over $1,200, and Tammy's brother got it for like $900.
Cheaper, because she was a tear, she didn't have the money, and but
So,
the tree was dead. There's act of God, I think, is when the tree's alive, though, that, like it happened in one of my apartments, and the tree was live, so we didn't have to pay for the girl's car. And if it was dead, we had to.
so the question is, so based on Rick's assumption, we gotta tell her one way or the other, because we've let her hang for 2
Yeah.
months now, so.
I had
So-
said, make a good faith effort to pay for half of it. I thought that was kind of fair for both, fair for us, fair for her.
And I don't know the lady. The only reason why my brother was because my brother's night sick. And he was there that night when it came off, so.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
And we went there and we waterproofed it until they were able to do it. So the question is,
So what is it?
The
Look at
total bill was like $900, something like that roughly. And then if you wanted to pay partial or not pay anything at all. So you got two options. Pay all, pay part, or pay nothing.
Plus the tree was on our property.
Tree was on our property.
The only concern I have is setting a precedent, but I think we're responsible. It's our property.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna set any new precedent. I mean,
You're right, on the precedent.
if she was to take us to court, we probably have to pay that plus her court fees. If we lost, you know?
Seems like her
I
homeowners,
have no feeling.
seems like she could have turned it into her homeowners.
She got $1,000 deductible.
Yeah, it wasn't
Oh.
cover because of what less.
She had $1,000. She said she had a $500 deductible. She couldn't afford it. She went to $1,000 deductible. That was the first month. That was the first month that I had to go and ask her.
Yeah.
Remember we said, let's go ask her if she put it on her insurance company first. I went and asked her about that and came back the second month and said no. And then last month, you know, I had to go. we had to do
And then
it.
there's other incidences like Oak Road, we paid more for, that's what we, you know, the guy that we sealed his driveway for.
Yep.
What was his name, Tammy, next door to you there?
Oh, Mark Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, we paid to seal his whole driveway. We didn't have to do that.
Should we,
I mean,
should we try?
Pay the whole bill.
It's up
I'll
to-
make a
so-
motion, we pay the whole bill. What's her name?
I don't know.
Swift Street Extension, $900.
Why is it Swift Street?
It's over here because it's.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bill for $900 to Lead Electric for Swift Street Extension. Tree damage.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Well,
Any other discussion?
no.
Vote.
Okay, back to the budget.
Hang on. we gotta vote.
Okay.
All in
Yes,
favor?
All in
yes,
favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
All
Let's
opposed?
put it to bed. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Fred, you're
We've had a lot of discussions on it.
Cemeteries personnel service, important thing to state here is that I have got another summer laborer, part-time, $15 an hour in this budget. I'm assuming that if the decision is to keep Mike Villano, he probably won't be doing mowing at 20-something an hour. He will be doing other more important skilled work, and we'll bring in another person to do just mowing.
I
And help out
think
where
we
he-
take that money and put it toward his salary and, because he's only $25 more an hour for the summer, so I would just get rid of that. I don't think I want to,
The,
Well,
Yeah,
he will have to expense time to doing this.
I understand that. So it's a $5 difference.
So,
So I just don't leave it, take it out myself.
He's Bruno's buddy.
well, he has done a good job. You've
Oh, I
got a
know.
lot of compliments, so you gotta give him that part. And, you know, when he's not cutting grass, he does the other
But
part
we
too.
also eliminated the position last year's budget. Then we
Yeah.
snuck it back in.
We did not eliminate it because we
So-
kept Eddie Pacelli in there. And we added this,
Fred
So-
Kennedy's gone too.
yeah, the thing
Pacelli was still in the budget.
the thing that we did was last year, we had Eddie Pacelli on board.
He was
Right.
gonna retire, but then,
He didn't.
He
I
did.
don't know what changed his mind.
yeah, Bob said, hey, hang on to the first year. They'll fund the
I
position.
don't know if that wasn't a pension thing, was it?
It's,
I
It didn't have
sensed
anything to do
I
with
sensed some
pensions,
frustration.
was it?
I heard Bob said, hang on a little longer.
I didn't
So-
know that part.
so here's the thing, we just took this one position and, you know, basically elevated it into this, whatever it is, laborer.
Motor operator.
Cameo, yeah.
So, and the person who was doing this that's the person,
That's the
right?
person.
So if they're gonna continue to mow the cemeteries as part of that new job, I agree, that's part of their job.
I get rid
But
of it.
now there's no grass per se. He's doing a lot.
He's a
of-
laborer.
Yeah,
he's a laborer.
Now-
Yeah, he does
Like
other
today-
things, but
And
he's
he's
gonna
gonna
do this too.
Today,
Hopefully he's gonna be
today
driving
with
a
two other
little
people, he was
pickup
picking up
this
weeds today
winter.
with a vacuum cleaner, and, you know, he's up there doing,
He's a laborer.
so he's doing
Yeah.
labor work, yeah, so,
Yeah, so this just becomes part of that.
yes.
So we eliminate.
Eliminate it.
Well, for now anyway.
okay,
Well-
here's what's gonna have to happen. I'm gonna
Maybe
have to
we
go
look
in
at-
and look at the field employees. I am going to have to revise the overall budget and see where this is gonna play out in getting this mowing stuff done. I can't do that hot lickety splitty here like everything else. There will be a number in here. It doesn't go away because the cost still needs to be expensed correctly.
But is it, so it's being expensed as a portion of that laborer's salary?
Yeah, so that labor salary would have to come down. That amount.
Yeah.
There's a bucket of dollars. So I'll have to see exactly how I did it. But even if I reduce it out of here, I've still got to get this mowing done. And so the highway dollars will reduce slightly for any of this mowing that's done in general sewer or water areas.
As long as it doesn't cost us any more than his salary.
Shouldn't.
Correct.
State retirement, based on the 2021 projection, there's our numbers. Social Security automatically calculated based on payroll costs, workers' comp, we've talked about 10%. The fire department, I've added 10%. I haven't heard from the county to see what that's going to be. It held last year. I'm not going to get overly optimistic that it's going to do it again this year. Hospital and medical, there's where it is. No, in the general fund, they take care of all retiree benefits. So it's not just the employees, it is the employees in the general fund plus all retirees benefits. So we're going to spend $1,135,907 now, $61,192 more than we started. And that will change because of the labor dollars and the mowing stuff. And I think that comes up a couple places. Heading right on over to water steward. And that's not what I meant, to revenues. I looked at water steward over here. Property taxes are staying the same. There is no, across the board, there is no increase in property taxes except what is required to make payments on serial debt.
About the library.
The library doesn't concern us, nor does the 5% increase that the fire department's done.
But they're going up.
5%, yeah, well, 5%. Fire department.
We have no control over that, and it doesn't affect our property taxes one way or another. It doesn't count as part of our tax cap. The other thing, in fact, I will give you a little piece of information. It's important to keep in mind that last year was SOAR District 3. We had $29,968.30 in unspent funds that we were able to not collect taxes on and apply it to the principal payments. This year, our taxes are only going up $19,253.04, which is well below the 2% property tax. But keep in mind that next year, we should have completed and done the financing for the Microsistence project. And now that the Microsistence project has turned into a $3.5 million project, after we take off our $558,000 that the town has paid for, we need to make a principal payment this year of $16,827. We're going to be financing $1,159,695, give or take. Things could change slightly. If we have 3% financing cost added back in there, we come up to $1,200 or $1.2 million. And right now I'm at a interest rate of 4% on that 40% that we have to pay out of the project. We are going to probably have something along the lines of a $70,000 a year annual payment for principal and interest for 30 years. So next year, we're going to have a big jump in property taxes that we cannot control. It is going to put us over the 2%. You've got no choice. You can't you can't do anything but say, gotta do
You're
it.
freezing on us.
How badly? Can you hear me now? Can you move? Because you're not moving on my screen.
Someone went to the back.
Now
you
you're
there?
moving.
You there?
I'm here, but I can't hear you either. You keep freezing.
Yeah, our internet connection's unstable. It says and we're hardwired too, aren't we?
Yep.
All of us are then.
Yeah.
But
The question is, what's our dollar amount that puts us over the cap roughly?
hold on.
Actually, we're not,
Oh,
because we need an adapter. I'll give it there.
okay.
No problem.
What kind of adapter?
There's something else you do.
Oh, that's not-
I got you.
What kind of adapter for the laptop for the,
Yeah,
to hook up the wireless?
no, to hook up to plug it in,
Oh, plug it in.
because I got the
Oh,
wire there, but it doesn't,
Yeah, that's an Apple one.
Huh?
That's an Apple one. I don't think that'll work.
that's the one. No, that's for the USB, but that's
Yeah.
it's gotta go from that to a Cat 5,
Oh,
so.
oh, okay. Cat 5 and USB. Okay. Yeah.
There's a box out there. Can you go put it in there?
All right. So the reason why, well, so regardless, no matter what, next year we have to go over the tax cap because of the serial debt for the thing. That's the only reason we'd have to go over the tax cap that we got to file paperwork on. So
Not
Okay.
2021, 2022.
yes,
Oh, okay.
next budget cycle.
Right. And I can't find the paper for that, which I thought I had here. I have a folder with it all here because I knew that that question was going to come up.
Let me deal with that.
Wait, got it.
Down the highway. What's his name, like from Senate?
If we were to use all of our available carryover, we have another,
I'm
are we
sorry.
listening? Are we done?
We're done playing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Mother Superior.
If we use all of our available carryover this year, we could collect another $34,197. Personally, I wouldn't bother doing that because
We're not going to do it.
it's not gonna bring us enough money to make a huge amount of difference probably. And if we've got left over, it carries over, and next year we're gonna need every penny we can use.
Yeah.
Unless the interest rates drop so low that we only have to pay 50,000, but even that's gonna be too much.
Well, when the funds come in, they'll be-
So we're holding property taxes flat. We've increased the sales tax per the previous conversation to the same amount that we budgeted for this year. We're expecting more, but we know it's over. We're splitting 50-50 with the highway. Everything else has stayed the same. I put the public market charges back in. Interest is going up based on where we're at year to date for 2020. Commissions, games of chance, everything there kept the same. I'm a little concerned about the fines and forfeited bail. We're looking like we're going to come in a little less this year, probably because people aren't out getting in trouble. I don't know what to do about the sale of refuse for recycling. I did half of the
Zero
budget.
that. I think we should zero that out because there won't be any recycling cardboard to sell now.
Nope, gone.
I mean, there'll be a little bit of metal, but not much.
Not much.
I'm absolutely almost okay with it, except it's revenue.
Yeah, because we do get the steel money, so,
Yeah, I would keep $500 in there, Darcel.
But the rate's so low that by the time we.
right,
Yeah.
that's something.
Doesn't cost us anything to take it over there, so
Yeah, right.
it's our profit.
Yeah, put $500 in there.
State and revenue sharing, 2,700, same as we always get. Mortgage tax, 8,000, about what we always get. State aid. This is, we are spending money on one side of doing something. And so we're going to get $5,500 back because of what we're spending over here on the project.
I'm gonna make a wild guess and say we're gonna get more this year in mortgage tax. and
I would think
revenue.
so. I would think a lot more, yeah.
They're calling here like like,
I would think you could even increase that, well,
No, we'll keep it the same, but
just keep it
Well,
same.
remember, the mortgage tax is very tricky because it's good if people, it only works if people are financing homes.
Yeah.
If you got anybody who's paying cash for them, it doesn't count at all.
Not too many are doing that.
I
No.
don't have Kirstadter's checkbook, so I can't pay cash.
Well, not all houses cost as much as you all like to spend. Here's an important fact right now. We're gonna take $118,000 out of the fund balance to get where we need to be. The beginning of the year is where we're at. We have made some budget modifications. We're expecting the fund balance to be at $797 at the end of the year if we get in all of our money and if we spend what's left to spend. And this is already taken into consideration your budget cuts that you made for COVID-19 back
You're
in
not, the
May.
one thing you're not taking into consideration, we're probably gonna get an extra 100,000 in there in revenue.
That is a true statement, and we're gonna use it right up here anyway. So, you know, we're kind of just going back and forth. We're spending this money, we're gonna be down to $679,000. I am putting $100,000 into the town hall roof building maintenance repair.
How much is there now?
$101,399.95, give or take, and that'll change because of interest.
200,000 in there, holy shit.
Now, there could be an argument that, are we going to need to make any major improvements to the building if in fact the idea of going digital works? Because
Probably
our
not.
biggest problem is storing paper.
Yeah.
And if in fact we can come up with a system that it can be digitized and we are capable of finding the digital files, it's an excellent idea. But then if that's in fact the case, we don't need to do much but continue to maintain this building. We don't need to increase it. We can keep the courts where it is. We're going to have to put a new roof on, and we're not going to need lots of money in this reserve.
I would expect that it's gonna be a couple of years before, you know, that kind of project comes to
complete.
fruition.
Yeah.
Totally agree, but do we want to spend $300,000 or more improving this building to make room for stuff that we're not going to use in 3 years?
I'm not
Because
advocating that. I just think that, you know, we do what we gotta do with, you know, as long as we're moving forward with this digital project, assuming that it does move forward, then, you know, I just think we putting money away for or not even improvements, but just repairs and maintenance
Repairs,
isn't a
yeah.
bad idea.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna need a new roof. We had the front put on. Recent,
Not $100,000.
oh, no.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but we got, these two side
50 grand.
ones I had to be replaced in the back.
That's
one
all
had to be
right, keep it
replaced.
there, we know where we can get it if we need it.
well, you've already got 100,000 in there, so you'll
Yeah,
have
only-
200,000 in there.
50, yeah, just put 50.
I would say 50.
Just put 50 in there, Darcel.
Okay, now, here's a thing. You have a policy in place that with all of this in case, and it will be higher because you're gonna have more money here in this number, because you're gonna get that extra $100,000.
Mhm.
Our expenditures of our unappropriated fund balance is 55.15% of our expenditure. And that's higher than what you want it to be.
What's
Because
the
you went
policy
past
say?
your policy at only 30%, even though I thought it should be 50, but that doesn't matter.
So how do we?
So-
The policy says minimum,
Minimum.
minimum, doesn't say what the maximum is.
Because the state.
Okay, and I think that you need to keep a lot of money in here because you never know, we might get hit with a pandemic and the bottom falls out and you're gonna want money. But if these comptrollers come walking in here again and say something to you like, why do you have this much money in fund balance? Do you have a plan for it? Is your answer, we don't want to put it into a reserve account because we want to have it available if we need it in case, I don't know, a pandemic strikes, the lake floods? Or do we need to start reducing this by reducing taxes?
Well, I think that,
No,
I think
Never do
that that's,
that.
well, I think that that's a reasonable question. And I asked that when I was on the school board too, is at some point, you know, we need to consider that we can't just continue to put the people's money in a savings account. I think that there's a benefit to it, and you know, obviously, but at some point you've got what you need, and that's why the comptroller asked that question. At some point you've got what you need, and when you've got what you need and you spend the money and you buy the things that you need to buy, the next thing you do is reduce the money that you take from your people. And I understand that's not a thing that happens very often, but at some point, if you're doing well, that becomes a reality.
But the
keeping
reality.
it flat is
Okay, so here's my suggestion.
in
Now,
a reserve
we-
somewhere.
We really don't collect a lot of taxes
Question.
Right.
And the thing is,
for this. I mean, it's the general fund, $210,000 is not a lot. And in the highway, 117,000 is not a lot. Now,
so we raise $300,000 a year total in taxes. The other problem is we got the sales tax cap that we gotta take into consideration. We lower it for 1 year and then we get a serial bond, whatever, and then we gotta do an override for sales tax. That looks just as bad, even though it's for bonding for a capital project. If they took capital projects out of this for the tax cap, then we wouldn't have to worry about it. We could do that, but because they put bonding in there, if we wanted to do that water replacement right there,
Mhm.
and we wanted to bond for that for the following 2022 or 23, we go permanent, that would raise, we'd have to override our tax cap just because we're doing infrastructure work,
Right.
which is ridiculous. So I think, you know, for us to, what I would rather see is buy a vehicle out of general fund,
Mhm.
get some of the equipment and use it for general, and then when highway uses it, we bill highway for it. You know, we can,
We're never gonna be able to do that, Ed, because we are not capable of tracking it. It's more paperwork than whatever. You know, that recommendation came up before. The general fund buys it, uses it, pays for all the repairs, and then we can't have this ridiculous argument that we consistently have between departments because I can't get a truck because he won't give it to me.
Well, that's an easy.
But
fix as
that's,
far as
and
I'm
that's a whole other thing. But here's a suggestion. What's if we drop this sales tax down here to 475,000? That will bring our amount down to 41% instead of where it was. And I take my sales tax over here and 625, and I add 150 here. And I add this up to 775. Wrong number. And then we have a bunch more money here. And instead of putting $100,000 here, I put $200,000 here because, as Mike has pointed out, it is not just the $300,000 in trucks that we're going to have to replace, but we've got a number of other expensive heavy-duty equipment that's going to need to be replaced. Now we are keeping our number here reasonable. We are keeping our number here reasonable. We have $150,000 for the town hall. We're going to give up the whole idea of building a new one or adding to it because we're going to move ahead with the idea of doing the digital stuff. And we are giving ourselves money over here for equipment that we know we're going to have to purchase. I would like everybody to say, thank you, great idea.
Perfect, Darcel, great idea.
Nice, I like it.
Nice job.
you're the best, Darcel.
Darcel, do you need a raise this year?
Tim, you know my answer to that. Every time I get a raise, I get 10 FOIL requests. I don't care. I don't want one. I won't take one. I will hand it to somebody else. I'll give it to Steve.
Take it, I'll take
I'll
it.
take
Like General
I will
Ship.
give it to Steve Simmons, who hasn't had more money in years. If you want to give me one, then I'm going to put it in his account, and Ed's watched me do it on more than one occasion.
Elected until not served.
All right.
If you can't use elected position for personal gain, what good is it? You know?
I have to make a change over here because we are now putting money into the fund balance. So I have to negative that out over here, 74,068.75. But that's okay because it doesn't make a difference because that number's just there to keep the budget people, state comptrollers happy. Because we can't have it show as money going into the fund balance that way, even though it doesn't really go anywhere.
This-
So
You just put $200,000 into the vehicle fund balance in the highway. What happens if he comes back on Monday and says it's gonna cost us $15,000 for, for 3 years for the difference of a trade-in value?
here's what I'm going to tell you. You are the board. There's a really good word. It is called no.
Do it.
But here's the thing, if that thing goes off warranty,
What
anytime,
thing goes off warranty?
after 3 years, that,
What?
that,
The front loader, the one that we just bought him over here?
yeah.
We just gave him, we just gave him $20,000 for a new heavy duty trailer. We just gave him $3,500 to add a motor to the highway. And down here, we spent $23,500 to get him his new front loader that basically we have paid for every year.
It was already in there, that was my question, okay, never mind.
So we're good.
So the answer is YES, not no. So
Yeah.
we're all
No,
good.
if he wants to get something that's in the budget, he can have it. If he decides that he wants a light duty pickup truck, we're probably going to pay for it in cash and not take the money out of here because
Yeah.
the money here needs to really be for the heavy duty big stuff that's expensive. We
Agreed.
can always offset something on the general fund if we need to, but Fred, I want to tell you something. For years, we never, no, because you weren't here then. For years, we never offset the general fund to help the highway fund budgeting. When we bought those two trucks, we slammed all the money out of the highway fund that we had. And then the general fund had to pay for it. And once we did it once, the lesson was, I can always tap into the general fund to get money. And if the board says yes every time he asks, he has no reason not to ask because you always say yes.
Oh, no, I think that one of the big things that I don't like that the county does is they tell the elected officials, here's your budget.
Work with it.
Well, they tell them, here's your budget, and then they make them come back and ask every time they spend $1. And that's crazy. We give the highway superintendent a budget, and as long as he stays within that budget, he buys what he gets what he does what he needs to do to run the highway
That's the
department.
law,
Yeah.
for highway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, except
If
for the fact
More
that
money, then I think it needs to be
Sorry.
scrutinized.
except for the fact that we have had consistent problems staying within the budget. We often go over line items and the town has a purchasing policy and PO procedures that everybody, including elected officials down the board, are supposed to follow, which means when he goes out and he spends $300, he is supposed to be putting in a PO request. So it's not that
Perfect
he
She's out.
$15,000. Ed listens to this regularly.
Yeah.
There's no news from him.
That does them all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. We've got a policy for expending money and that it
Well,
should be
you can't go over
followed.
your budget.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
illegal to go over your
It
budget.
should
We
be
go
followed.
over our budget regularly. If this was a normal year and I hadn't been put 4.5 months behind in getting things done at the beginning of the year, you would be getting monthly reports that were up to date and every single month, we would be making budget modifications because we went over a budget line somewhere or another. Every single month.
Not me.
Well, all we can do is try and do better.
Well, I'm just telling you. So
Okay, so
got
let's,
these,
we're good. I mean, we're done with the general and the highway at this
Highway,
point. Yeah.
we're done with the general and the highway. We've got our probable projected appropriated, unappropriated fund balances down to numbers that we're comfortable with. We've got money to put a new roof on the building in a year or so, or now if we needed to. We are starting to put money away for the big vehicles that need to be purchased.
Is Rich coming Monday, or we already got his
Yeah.
numbers?
He's coming.
We have preliminary numbers. He is still working on final numbers.
Alrighty,
All right. Well, thanks for everything today, Darcel.
thank you, Darcel.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, thank you.
Are we adjourning?
We're adjourned. Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn. I'll
All right.
second.
Timmy and Fred. Timmy, Fred.